Good morning. Welcome to Cliff's Notes. Just kidding. Or as I might call them, Leslie's Notes. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to say we have a very special guest joining us. And I would like to bring in the very special true crime wifey joining us for today's version of Cliff's Notes or Leslie's Notes. Welcome, true crime wifey.
Hey, Leslie, how are you this morning?
Good. I'm so happy you could join us for our Cliff's Notes book club.
I'm always glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here. Did you ever use Cliff's Notes in school?
Only for Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The Winter's Tale was one of the Shakespeare ones because I don't know. Like I think I had like reading comprehension issues, so I would need to use Cliff Notes for Shakespeare because I just didn't understand the language. Does
right.
that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I had Cliff's Notes for all of the Shakespeare stuff for sure.
Yeah, but for nothing else. I never used it for anything else other than Shakespeare. But then after I learned what they were talking about in the Cliffs Notes, I could read the book like appropriately. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, it was just like, I just need a little help with this. I always say if I had the attention span of details like I do in this case, I mean, I could have been valedictorian.
I know. Or if I knew now at like almost 50 years old what I
Yeah.
shoulda, coulda, woulda known at 18. Yeah,
Right.
I would have been a genius.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I think about that too. Like, dang. That's why when I was in college, I remember the quote unquote older students, like 30 years old, but that was old to me. And I remember they were all like great students, and it now makes so much sense.
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah.
cuz yeah, yeah, cuz I mean I did full-time classes for well I graduated a semester early, but that's only because I took a lot of summer school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had an audio visual job at USF from
Oh,
like my
cool.
freshman year until yeah, like they were kind of like my second family, if you will. But I was also a sorority girl. Like I was very driven.
Hmm.
However, I also, organized my time, but then I also had a good time partying too. Okay, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
act like I didn't
You're
because
a
I did.
well-balanced student.
Yeah, apparently very well rounded.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
But yeah, but at times, certain classes that I needed to meet, like, my degree might have been night classes. And the
Right.
night classes, maybe one or two every other semester, they were
Hmm.
older people in the community coming in
Right.
and getting that degree, and they would provide so much more, like, life experience
Oh, yeah, for
to the
sure.
class. Yeah, so
Yeah.
sorry,
Well,
side note, everyone.
no, it's good. It's good. Yeah, we've talked about Adelson fatigue, but I
Oh,
do really enjoy this book because every time, like, I learn something new or something I didn't pick up on. So, we've got today that we're going to go over 4 chapters, 23 through 26, and then next Sunday
awesome.
we wrap it up. But I really hope he writes the next one. I'm going to email him and ask because at the very end of this, at the end of today, actually, Charlie is arrested. So
Oh,
there's
I
still
am
a lot more to tell. But
Leslie,
welcome.
I am so glad that you just said that because I was thinking okay, I truly believe that Stephen B. Epstein does superior research.
He
And
does.
if he were to pick up where he left off and then go through to today,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
not only would he get the backgrounds of the jail or the snitches,
Mhm.
right? There's 2 that testify, but then there's 2 others that
Right.
Donna was trying to probe, and they're a hot mess because I Googled a couple of them.
Yeah.
Sydney Conroy, and then the other one was, Brittany
Oh,
Bell, okay?
those were the ones that Harvey was gonna pay for their hotel room.
Yeah, but they didn't test so I'm just saying, like, the
Mhm.
background and research because obviously he has access to things
Yes.
that I think as a writer, we don't necessarily get as, like, lay people.
Yeah, I agree, and do you know who turned him on to this case? Fun fact for everybody.
No, tell me.
Mike Williams' mom's Cheryl.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
No, now that you're saying that, I remember. And
Yeah.
Little Miss Cheryl. You guys, I used to see Little Miss Cheryl Williams at the corner of Mahan and Magnolia in Tallahassee. If you are from around here in Tallahassee, you're going to know she used to be right in front of the restaurant called the Lunchbox.
Oh, I love
And I
that.
would see her holding up the sign.
Wow. Well, I would love to read that book too, because the one he wrote before this one was Evil at Lake Seminole, and of course, Cheryl Williams was a huge help to him, right?
Yeah, yes, and I see Angela Grace is like, yes, it's Cassidy, not Sydney. And Angela Grace, yes, I'm sorry, it's Cassidy, but Cassidy is spelled so crazily. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I just think of it as Sid. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I see that
But
now.
thank you for correcting.
Yeah. Um, well, he said that while talking with Cheryl one evening, she pressed me what I was going to write next. He told her I didn't know. She urged me to write about Professor Dan Markel's murder. And, we learned recently somebody's interview that Ruth had been talking with Cheryl Williams a lot. So I loved that. But at
I
the end,
okay.
yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm wondering if the Tallahassee Democrat newspaper reporter Jennifer Portman might have prompted that
Mm.
conversation, meaning she is the one in Tallahassee that started doing a deep dive on Mike Williams, and then she also did deep dives on Dan
Oh,
Markel as well.
oh, I
I'm
love that.
Yeah, that just triggered.
Yeah, I'll
Sorry.
have to read through all the acknowledgments, but I will say at the end, Epstein thanks so many people that helped with this. And just to name I'll read it all. Next week, I'm going to go into it more, but the names that we'll all know: Dave Ehrenberg, Doug and Josh Berman. These were friends of Dan's. Tracy and Jeremy Cohen, who lived on Trescott. Tamara Demko, tons and tons of Dan's friends. I mean, like lines and lines. So he got a lot of that insider information, but he did an awesome job. So
Yeah,
with
great.
that, yeah. So welcome everyone and welcome True Crime Wifey. I'm happy you're here to go along today. I'm trying to break it up because at this point in the book, so this book is really focuses on the initial arrest, the crime itself, the initial arrest, and really the details of the first trial, from the details of all the different attorneys and family dynamics. So we're wrapping up toward the end of the book, and we're on the last day of the trial of 2019. So a lot of it is stuff we've seen, right? I mean, he's writing about it. So I tried to
Mhm.
clip in some of the testimony pieces and just clips from the actual trial.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think that you worded it appropriately during our last live when we were watching Luis Rivera. You're like, Stephen Epstein does great character development,
Yeah.
meaning telling us everything about these folks who are involved. And
Yes.
remember, his book was published before Katie's retrial. So,
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of it because we have to remember at Katie's trial, what's her name? Tara Kawas. she really didn't think Wendy was involved. And then by the second trial in 2022, she did. So,
Yeah.
you got to look at this from a 2019 to 2020 something
Yeah,
lens
it's the
of
snowball effect. The
yeah,
snowball
exactly.
effect of how many people were actually involved and what all they had to do with the murder of Dan Markel.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, and it's chilling just to hear like some things that DeCoste will say. So, but good morning, everybody. We're happy y'all are here. And hey, the best thing y'all can do is if you see something, if either True Crime Wifey's, mine, both of us, like, comment, hype it if you can. I really want to grow. Not, and I'm not going to come on here and like beg money. That's not why I want to do this, but just to help grow the channel that leads to other things. I mean, people, maybe if I got like a sponsor or something, it's people, that's how people really make money in the YouTube world. It's from the sponsorships and all. It's not from like super chats and stuff. So, since this is like my only gig right now, I will just say if anything y'all want to do to help is just to like it and share it, that's huge. Right, True Crime Wifey?
Yeah, it's really huge. And you bring up a really good point. I'm sorry to get side noted, but um I've spoken about this before. AA Legal Focus, Judy. Okay, I did not know her about in regards to Dan Markel coverage. I knew her about Robert Wone, and
Mm,
she was a college friend of his at William and Mary, and he was murdered 20 years ago in
mm,
DC on Swan Street. Okay. And the three people who are involved were never convicted. But she just did
wow.
a live stream with one of four men back in the day. They were four gay men in the DC area because they knew the culture of the people who were all involved in Robert Wan's murder. And
Oh,
and they started a blog 20, almost 20 years ago, and
uh-huh.
that blossomed into a lot of people having knowledge. So my point is that it's all about exposing this case, getting
Right.
everybody, getting justice, full justice for Dan Markel, meaning everybody involved convicted of something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So, I'm never gonna be on here like, "Buy me a coffee, send me this, we need dinner." But yeah,
yeah, well,
anything just
and Crows and Gallows says food truck sponsorship.
yeah.
Just an FYI, Crows and Gallows, food truck people probably don't sponsor these things because they're struggling on their own. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah,
People who actually run an actual food truck, yeah.
yeah, right? But yeah, we
Okay,
just we appreciate y'all are here, and let's just kinda
yeah,
dive
I'll
in.
hush now.
Oh, no, you're good. I love it when yeah, I agree, Melissa, to try to get a glasses sponsor. And some of y'all know my son has a YouTube channel, and he's like, "Mom, the way" he's like, "No, you do a good job, but, like, I can take it to the next level for you." But the one thing is like a sponsorship would be, my reading glasses, Millie, that I always wear. People are always like, "What is that? What are those?" Be like, "Hey, these glasses are by Peepers." And they just send me glasses. And then I could give like a code if anybody wanted them. And then I don't know, maybe you get a portion. I don't know how all that works. Like if you listen to some of the big podcasters, they'll start plugging supplements and energy drinks and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I just appreciate just pushing it out there, liking it, hyping it, whatever y'all can do. All right. So we are on chapters 23 through 26 in extreme punishment. And shout out to Judy. Good morning, AA Legal Focus. I saw that Epstein thanks you in the back of the book. So that was cool to see. All right. So we are now on. Hold on now. Something happened to my computer. All right. There we go. We
Yeah,
are
I heard
on.
thunder. I heard thunder in your background.
Mine?
Yeah, do you have thunder? Or
We
well,
did,
that
but I
might
think
be
you're hearing
thunder.
Marshall giving himself a manicure. He's chewing his nails.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I might have thunder going on. I mean, there's been
yeah,
very bad thunderstorms throughout
yeah.
Tallahassee for
It's
the
been a
past,
rainy
3
summer,
days.
but
Yeah.
the best part is we haven't had to run the sprinklers, so that's been good.
Yep.
So this is chapter 23, rolling the dice, and I believe he's referring to Katie taking the stand. You know, who was going to testify? Was it Sigfredo? Was it Katie? And we are going to Crows and Gallows. Thank you. I don't know what is that Yun, I think. Thank you so much. Okay. So we are now on the 10th day of the trial. It's October 9th, 2019, which I don't know about to y'all, but in my world, I think about pre-COVID and post-COVID. It's just like, oh, wait, I think that happened before COVID. So we know that was before COVID. But not only was it Dan's 47th birthday on the last day of the trial, but it was also Yom Kippur, which is just wild to me. Katie decided to testify because at this point, the juror just thinks she's a foul-mouthed person because all they've heard her speak are those calls with Charlie where it's like, F and A, bro, F this, F that. And Epstein describes her testimony as wooden and flat because they knew, you know, she's not very well spoken, I guess would be the nice way to say it. She just doesn't come
Well, and
across sounding, yeah,
she's also still lying. She's also
yeah,
still lying that no Adelson had anything to do with it, right?
yeah,
She's
right, yeah,
giving that whole spiel.
exactly. So, her attorneys really just kind of kept her to like minimal answers, but then they kind of held their breath, as he says, before um, Georgia took over with the cross examination. All right.
And Judy is saying, I mean, it's unfortunate that Epstein's book gives us off the impression that Wendy wasn't involved. But Judy, we've discussed this before. He's not aware of what we know now, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's a great character development, but yeah, he doesn't know.
Yeah,
He doesn't know. That's why we want him to do a follow-up.
exactly. And I do feel like, I mean, I had always heard that. And he does talk about, oh, Wendy's so pretty and her long hair and her blue eyes and blah, blah. But to be fair, then later on, he's like, you know, they keep saying the Adelsons are involved and he keeps naming her. So I wouldn't say that I felt like he was necessarily, he was just trying to do more even reporting, is what
Yeah.
I would say.
And I don't think that he describes her rat's nest of a head during Katie's retrial, right? Because
Yeah,
the first trial, her hair is smooth
it
and
is.
very
Yeah, she looks
nice.
the best in that one.
And even
Yeah.
though it's the same one dress Wendy, right? The same gray dress in the second trial, her hair's a hot mess. That's why we can tell the differences
Yeah,
between the two trials.
exactly. Exactly. So we'll watch a little bit of this just because he goes into detail about it. But this Katie on the stand, and y'all tell me your impressions because I, yeah, I'm not a bright, not the what do you say? Few fries short of a happy meal.
Anything to do with the murder of Dan Markel?
No, ma'am.
Did you get the father of your children, Mr. Garcia, to commit a murder on behalf of Mr. Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am.
Now I'm going to take you all the way back, not too far back,
Okay.
but to around the area of 2013,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Now, when is the first time that you met Charlie Adelson?
I was working at a dental office in South Beach, and it was Sophie Dental.
Okay, now what does Sophie stand for?
South of Fifth, I believe.
Okay, and that would be on Miami Beach, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at that time in 2013, what were you doing at Sophie Dental? What was your job description?
I was working in front desk, receptionist, and like insurance verification, like clerical work for the office.
Oh, yeah, okay. It didn't require you to have any specialized knowledge in dentistry.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did Charles Adelson work at Sophie Dental?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, was he an employee of Sophie Dental or was he like a subcontractor?
A subcontractor. He was a specialist.
Now, explain what that, how it is that he works with Sophie Dental being a specialist.
We have a periodontist, and we would just schedule him out whenever there's patients that needed to be seen by a specialist.
Like whoever needed his specialized services?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you said what kind of dentist was he?
A periodontist.
Do you remember the first time you actually met?
Not to my knowledge, no. Like he walked into the office, but the girls just told me he's one of the specialists.
Okay. Now, how is it that you two started to communicate?
I love that. Do you remember the first time you met? No, he just walked into the office and someone told me okay, that's the first time you met.
Outside of the work
This
arena?
is how we know Katie's
I
lying.
believe he was asking a couple of the girls, if I was single, and then he took down my number, or I think he put his number on my phone. I told him I already have your phone number because the doctors tell us to, text to see if, they can call the office and then schedule.
Okay, so I think that lays a little bit of groundwork as how she was coming across, and I thought Epstein described it very well. Wooden and flat. I mean, yeah, just.
So Charlie Adelson took her phone and plugged his number in her phone.
Yeah. Isn't that just so him?
Well, I'm kind of wondering I believe that Katie is a yapper. Okay, I believe that she was complaining to all of her coworkers all the time about deadbeat dad, Sigfredo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Charlie heard about that information prior to meeting her or seeing her. And again, Katie is Charlie's type, right? Asian,
Right.
younger, much
Mhm.
younger, or younger, little petite thing. So, I mean, I always believe that just like Wendy picked Jeffrey for a reason, Charlie picked Katie for a reason.
Oh, 100%. Crows and Gallows says Katie is just as cold-blooded as the rest. And I totally agree. I think she read the letter, the note. She knew what it was about. Patty even talked about the diaper bag. I think she was getting the $5,000 or whatever the initial payment was, taking some off the top. She was all in it.
Greed got the best of her.
It sure did. Judy says, and don't get pregnant with a drug addict loser at age 19.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes, I love it. She also admits on the stand that she was still sleeping with both Charlie and Sigfredo at times. So I'm just going to show y'all like little snippets of this just because.
Tangent sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, were you in a sexual relationship with Mr. Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
But you were not exclusive with him?
No, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable. Were you still having a sexual relationship with Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
How often?
Whenever we would kind of get back together, I guess.
Whenever he would leave Shrimp's house?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm thinking we know that Charlie's putting his stuff where, I mean, Charlie's probably still sleeping with other people too. Let's just assume it, right?
Yeah.
And then we know Sigfredo's like with Shrimp, which, just that name. And then she's doing Sigfredo and Charlie, and God only knows what all is going on with this group.
How much you were having sex with Mr. Adelson at that time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Describe your relationship with Mr. Garcia at the time that you're dating Charlie.
He was just always kind of in and out. He was around because of the kids.
Literally. Okay, sorry. I
in and
couldn't
out. Oh my God.
I couldn't resist saying it. I know. Where's Andrew, the true crimester, when you need him? He's at church, I think. Then she goes into Tara Kawas goes into the July 1st, 2014 incident. They talk about Charlie picking up Katie in, at the time, what was his dad's black Lexus. And y'all just envision like the big black Lexus, the largest one at the time, and he's towing a jet ski behind it. And so he goes to pick up Katie, and that's when supposedly Sigfredo comes after them. And Sigfredo was driving a Volvo. That was an interesting information to me.
Yeah, imagine imagine a little Volvo
I know.
blocking like a 4-door large Lexus
Yeah.
towing like a jet ski in
Right?
the middle of the road. And okay, so Melissa Navon brings up a good point. Don't turn down full immunity when you have kids at home to raise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is so
But
true.
but her greed overrode, in my opinion, her love for her children. I don't mean to be callous, but that's
Mhm.
how I view it.
Yeah. And when she in this part, when she shares that the kids were also there in the blue Volvo, that to me was just like confirmation, like, yeah, those kids don't need to be with either one of them. And they probably did get a better life with her brother. I'm just gonna guess.
Now,
100%.
about July 1st of 2014, okay? Do you remember a day when Mr. Garcia confronted you and Mr. Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about this. Did Mr. Garcia come and pick up the kids from you that day?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What were your plans for that day?
To go out on the jet ski.
Whose jet ski?
Charlie's.
He owned jet skis.
Yeah.
How many?
He had one.
Just one. Okay. What car was Mr. Adelson driving at the time?
The Lexus.
The Lexus that you were arrested in.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will get to that.
And Sigfredo.
So did Mr. Garcia know that you needed him to watch the kids so that you could go out with Mr. Adelson?
I mean, I probably told him that I had to go out or I had plans.
Would you have told him it was Mr. Adelson?
No.
Why?
Because I didn't like him.
See, I don't believe that because she loved to be mean to Sigfredo. I'm not saying he wasn't mean either, but they had a very immature relationship. And she was probably like, I'm going out with my rich boyfriend. Don't you think? True crime, well, you're on mute, but I think she was. I think she was poking the bear, as I say.
Yeah, poking the bear.
Yeah.
And remember, okay, so Sigfredo on this date, he calls Harvey's cell phone
Mm-hmm.
at 5:20 p.m. and leaves a
Yeah.
message. And then
Which makes
Katie
no
calls,
sense.
yeah, and then Katie calls Harvey's cell phone at 7:43.
Mm-hmm. So that
This
makes
is
no
all
sense.
after this happened because they were leaving out to go on the jet ski
Mhm.
excursion or wherever they were. This is around, this is like before noon.
Right. Yeah, you're not going jet skiing when the sun's going down.
Right.
Yeah. That's yes, absolutely. And hello, other Southern Miss. So y'all, this is Leanne. She changed her handle because she had her full name, out there. And I've been there. I used to have my full name. I mean, I should have just made it my social security number.
So Mr. Garcia comes and he picks up the kids. And by kids, I mean Ethan and Katie.
Yes, ma'am.
What car do you remember him driving at that time?
I believe he had like a Volvo, like a old little bucket car.
What does that mean, a bucket car?
It's like a cheap car.
Oh, okay.
Like
Do you remember what color or anything like that?
a blue, I think.
All right. So he picks up the kids. Where does he take them, if you know?
He took them to go eat like around the corner, there's like a pizza place
Mhm.
down the block. I think he took them out to go eat.
Now, after he picks up the kids and leaves, who comes and picks you up?
Charlie.
Okay. And you get in the car with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. And you guys are just gonna go and take the jet skis out?
Yes, ma'am.
What happens, well, how, you pull out, Mr. Adelson does.
Hmm.
How far does he get away from your apartment?
Probably down a block.
And then what happens?
Sigfredo cut us off
Okay, in what?
in the car, on the car.
Now, describe for the jury what you mean cut you off. Like, did he, describe for them?
Oh, like we were driving out of our parking lot and then he cut us off like right in front. Like he went around us and cut us off and blocked the street.
Did Mr. Adelson have to slam on his brakes to stop?
Yes.
Were your children in the car with Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Mr. Garcia get out of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
What was he doing?
Screaming in the middle of the street
At who?
at us.
Did you guys roll down the windows?
No.
Do you have any idea what he was yelling?
No.
Was he yelling in Spanish or English?
I don't know.
What did Mr. Adelson do?
Well, he was freaking out. He was trying to figure out how he can make a turn to go the other way.
So I find this all to be a bunch of BS. One, through a car, you can still hear what somebody is saying, especially now if it's English or
Ooh.
Spanish. And Charlie just like freaks out and just tries to get out of there. I bet you, in my opinion, don't you think Sigfredo's thinking, you want me to do that for you? I mean, don't you think
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like that?
he was probably hooting and hollering all kinds of things, but
Mhm.
okay, this is where I get a problem. I have a very big problem with Katie.
Yeah.
Your baby daddy has the kids in the car acting the fool
Right.
and hopping out, whatever he's screaming about, like, you're not gonna get out and check on your kids. Like, I don't care what kind
Mhm.
of world we live in, but
Right.
mother instinct
Mhm.
is thinking, holy
Great.
moly,
Mhm.
he's driving like a crazy person, cutting
Mhm.
me and my lover off, right? Like cutting us off in the street, and I'm not gonna get out to check on my kids
That's
who are
such a good
probably
point.
freaking out in the back seat.
I
Okay, I
know.
like
'Cause
seriously think about this.
yeah, the little
Think
boy's
about
autistic.
well, think about what the children are witnessing.
Mhm.
In any mother, it doesn't matter. Ugh,
I
even the
know.
biggest pieces of shit moms that I've met in my career in child welfare,
Right.
even if they were total drug addicts, they
Right.
are still concerned with the welfare of their children.
Right. And sidebar Snoop says, I don't believe the jet ski incident happened. I do wonder if like the jet ski is definitely like added to the story. I agree. I think there's more to it. But I do think there was some kind of confrontation, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but Katie cared more about driving off with the rich dentist than
Of course.
she did the welfare of her own children.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've heard her on the calls, like even with Sigfredo's mom, where she's just lighting her up and her kids are in the background. It breaks my heart. I don't know if you remember that call, but I mean,
yeah,
she spoke
no,
to Sigfredo's mom
yeah,
like horribly.
yeah. Hashtag bad mom.
For sure. But we'll play a little bit more and then we'll move on.
Way around with the jet ski like hitched in the back.
Okay, so he didn't get out the car and confront Mr. Garcia?
No.
Okay, he just got out of there.
Yes.
Was he successful in his attempt to get away from Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Garcia didn't actually physically attack the car or anything?
No.
Okay. Now, who is Yendra?
Yeah, see, Angela Gray's right. The jet ski story's bogus, in my opinion, but phone records showed that Katie was at Charlie's house. Yeah, that's right. They did show that she was there. So they added this on, but still, she's a piece of crap and a liar, and we know that. Okay, so we talked about the Lexus and all that. Okay, I pulled. Have y'all ever seen the pictures of these clubs that she worked out?
Yes. And okay, so remember the owner of one of the clubs testified?
Testified. Yeah.
I mean, that was hilarious.
Yeah. He came in looking like a mafia guy. Like, wasn't his shirt unbuttoned? He had like gold chains, and it was awful.
Yeah, total what I don't I'm total Guido.
I was going to
Guido.
say it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. So this was something online from 2014. So I have to think this would have been about in Katie's era. I mean, look at those lamps. It just looks like it probably didn't smell the great. Yeah. Adelson Hater. I appreciate, yeah.
I'll bet you the floor was sticky.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, there's no telling what went on in those booths, right? Yeah. But everybody agrees. Katie taunted Sigfredo, and they talk about it, like how abusive she was. And then this was Club Hollywood in a strip mall. And she's claiming $1,000 to $1,500 in cash tips. Come on. This next one,
Okay, so
no, go ahead.
So if she's making that much money in
Mhm.
that club in a given night, she's doing a lot more than selling bottles and lap dances.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. But she then answers questions about when she met Wendy and Harvey.
2014. Well, as far as you know, they were with him. Could they have been with his mother,
Maybe,
his sister?
maybe.
You didn't
But
check.
it was his, yeah, like it was his day.
It's his turn.
Yeah, to have them.
So apart from, did you know, you said she had mentioned her kids.
Mhm.
Did she mention anything about
So they're talking, I believe, now about Yardbird.
a custody battle or anything like that to you?
No, ma'am.
Did she talk negatively about her ex-husband at all in your presence? Now, I want to talk to you about, you met
Wendy's not going to talk about it
Right. Yeah.
in front of Jeffrey. Like,
Yep.
but Katie already knows what the beef between Wendy and Dan Markel is
Of course she
prior to
knows.
Yardbird. So yeah, I mean,
She's such a liar.
in your presence, did they ever talk about Wendy and her divorce in front of you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And how did Charlie talk about his sister to you? Charlie Adelson.
He didn't.
He didn't talk about her to you at all?
I mean, he told me he had a sister, he had a brother, but that's about it. Not any details.
You never met the brother, right?
No.
Okay. Did it seem to you that Charlie was very close to his sister?
Yeah, he said he loves his sister.
Mm-hmm.
What about his relationship with his mother?
Yeah.
Do they talk a lot?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Now I want to turn your attention to July 18th of 2014. You now know that that was an important
Do you see how she got so uncomfortable with that immediately? Start squirming. July 18th.
day.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
You've now learned that that was the day that Dan Markel was executed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did Mr. Garcia ever tell you that he was leaving town?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Mr. Garcia ever
but
telling you, I'm
in her
going up
proffers,
north, I'm going to
Yeah.
but in her proffers, she talks about how Sigfredo told her on the first trip and the second trip, I need money to take a trip.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, she also said that she didn't know anything about Wendy. Well, in her proffers, she says that Charlie was telling her consistently before Halloween of 2013 that his sister and her husband or ex-husband were having major issues, and it
Mhm.
was causing stress for the family. So, this
Yeah.
whole
She's
I
lying.
mean, we all know that she's a liar. You're
Yeah.
right, Wendy.
She's a
Too.
lying, cheating, no good. Yeah, that
Stinking.
yeah,
Yep, I get
from
it.
Home Alone. Yeah. And welcome Wendy Joan and Angela Grace and everybody.
Tallahassee.
No, ma'am.
Would Tallahassee have stuck out in your mind?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And apart from being here for the past 3 years, had you ever been to Tallahassee before?
No, ma'am.
This is your first time here.
First time.
If I asked you right now what you were doing on July 18th of 2014, would you be able to tell me?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember having a conversation with Charlie Adelson about his brother-in-law being in an accident? Does that sound familiar to you?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay, so you do at some point remember him referencing his brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law.
I believe so, yeah.
As best as you can remember, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, try to describe for us what it is that he said to you in terms of referencing his ex-brother-in-law being in an accident.
Well, that was it. Like, I remember, or trying to remember, that there was one day that he had called and he said, yeah, like his brother-in-law got in an accident. I don't know if it was a car accident or an accident.
Okay, do you remember, does car accident, does that sound familiar, or you don't know?
I don't know.
All right. Did he tell you that his brother-in-law had been shot twice?
No, ma'am.
Okay. He didn't tell you he had been murdered?
No, ma'am.
Would you have remembered that if he told you?
I would remember that.
Yeah, doubt it.
How do you know Luis Rivera?
Through Secreto.
Were you ever close with him?
Okay, so this was interesting, this part. I'm going to let it play, but Epstein talks about Kawas. This is on page 382. When Kawas tried to get Katie to agree that the number in the call detail records revealed her calling a 934 prefix belonged to someone else, they were trying to like for her to be like, I don't know. And she says, well, wasn't that Luis's number? It's not what they were trying to get her to say.
No, ma'am.
You knew how close he was to Mr. Garcia, though.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. But you wouldn't, did you hang out with him if Mr. Garcia wasn't around?
No, ma'am.
Did you talk to him on the phone at all?
No, ma'am.
All right. If you couldn't find Mr. Garcia, would it be a safe assumption that Luis would know where he is?
Yes, ma'am.
But you didn't have his number even saved in your phone, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay. You saw the phone records in this case, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Your phone records.
Yes, ma'am.
And the prosecution was talking about a call being placed with a number that begins with 934. Do you remember that?
I remember it now because keep seeing it in this
Okay.
trial.
And they make a big deal about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me today or tell the members of the jury who it was that you were trying to call?
With the what? With the.
With that 934 number. Do you even know whose number that is?
I mean, I believe that it wasn't that Lewis's number.
Because she just said she never spoke with him on the phone.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, and Tara's like,
Oh, no. Well, I'm asking you. At the time, do you know, could you testify today and tell me that
Tara
that was
is
Lewis's number?
working her ass
No, ma'am.
off.
It could have.
yeah. She's like, okay, well, that's not where that was supposed to go.
Yeah. Because I mean, I truly believe that in the middle of Katie's retrial is when Tara Kawas and Christopher DeCoste learns that, I mean, Katie is totally lying. I mean, I still think that they kept on with the facade that she wasn't involved. I don't know. That's also weird to me because I do think that Christopher DeCoste is highly intelligent as well as Tara. But yeah, I'm thinking at this point in time, they're like, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah. I mean, her testifying, that was not a good decision. But it just goes into in the book just about how, you know, she denies the whole money drop. I mean, she's denying all the phone evidence. You know, she talks about getting money to get the Medicaid in Florida for her kids, wanting to be on the payroll, but said she didn't work for Adelson Institute. she was working for Charlie, but yet her attorneys are arguing she worked for Adelson Institute. She also talks about Charlie ghosted her around July, August, all that after the murder time frame.
Yeah, but then Donna starts sending her Adelson
Payments.
Institute checks on
Yes,
September 17th.
right. So their whole story wasn't jiving. And
Yeah.
then Sigfredo Garcia. So we did learn in this book that he had been shot once, but also in 2015, he was driving a motorcycle with Shrimp, and he had a really bad wreck, and he got a legal settlement. And so Katie took care of him.
Yeah, and Shrimp got hurt bad. Shrimp
Yeah.
got hurt badly.
I'm sure they weren't wearing helmets, I would bet. In Florida, right? No helmet law, right? I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
don't
go
know,
into it.
but
I tried to find some details online. I couldn't.
yeah, I think that her injury was like back injury type stuff, not necessarily a head injury, but
Oh, okay.
back and spine, injury. Not anything debilitating where she can't walk,
Right.
but maybe like longevity pain, if you will.
Right. Well, I'm sure they snorted the settlement. Then Tara went into like details of that 23-minute call after the bump where everything Katie says is like F and A, bro, F this, F that, F. Every other word is F something. And I think they're trying to paint it like she was just very upset and wanted to go to the cops and all this. And Tara really wanted the jury to know that she would not accept an offer of immunity. And Georgia Kappelman keeps objecting. It says, "Are you aware that the government wants Charlie Adelson?" So they keep bringing up Charlie in her trial. And Katie nodded and Kappelman objected loudly. The judge sustained. And they even went to a sidebar. And I think Georgia really wanted Hankinson just to tell them to drop it. But they kind of get something in that Charlie Adelson was involved. And she says yes. And she says she's innocent. There was something, though, that she did. Oh, they said that Tara asked, "Were you aware that the government has said that you have the key to your own freedom?" And Georgia objected and told Katie not to respond.
So I remember this during trial,
Mhm.
and I remember Georgia objecting, and
Mhm.
then Judge Hankinson is like overruling her objection.
Mhm.
And like when I really think about it over time, okay, this has been a few years. I think that Judge Hankinson is like 100% justice person, okay, you guys.
Yeah.
His name was Hangam Hankinson. He
Mhm.
is ruthless in the fact that anyone involved in a murder should go down. And I feel like, I'm not in his head, but I feel like Judge Hankinson's like, no prosecution. You're not going to take out the Adelsons here. They're involved. That's just
Yeah. That makes sense.
my take on it, because I mean, Hankinson did not play. He is very justice.
Right. And we
he's
know in the
passed
arrest
away, yeah.
affidavit, it lays out Charlie and Donna.
Well, he also signed the the wiretap access.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
On the 7th of April before the bump happened on the 19th of April in
Mhm.
2016.
Right.
But the thing is that like Hankinson's not going to play either side. He's going to be like, nope, let it come out. Let it come out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. He's just like, let's
Like
get
he's
to
not pro. Yeah, he's not pro prosecution or pro defense. He's like, nope, truth is going to come out.
Right. And so then, again, George is like getting peeved, wants it to stop going there. And Tara asks Katie, do you know what it means to hold your key to your own freedom? And Katie says that it's up to me to get out of jail. And how would you do that? She says, if I gave up Charlie. Do you have information that Charlie Adelson was involved in this? And she says, do I have information? Katie asked. I mean, based on everything we know, we've been seeing, but I don't have personal information. Please, what a liar.
Yep. Liar. And Judge Hankinson knew that she was lying.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. Skier says she's playing an angry victim, but not successfully, right? And then Zanganea, he only questioned her for like 10 minutes, of course. He's just wanting to point everything to, what's it called? The Latin Kings. I almost said the Lion Kings.
Yeah, to Luis.
Yeah, exactly. So then I'm going to show some of Georgia grilling Katie now.
She's wearing her red suit.
Is that a person you go to when you have a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't ask Mr. Garcia to help this lady get her kids back in Tallahassee?
No, ma'am.
You didn't solicit him to commit a murder of Dan Markel?
No, ma'am.
Do you know who Tuto is?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is Tuto?
Sigfredo Garcia.
And who is Tato?
Luis Rivera.
And when Charlie Adelson told you that the person that approached his mother said these names, you didn't tell him that you knew exactly who those people were, did you?
Didn't tell whom?
Charlie Adelson.
That I didn't tell him who Tudo was? He didn't mention Tudo's name until later on.
He mentioned
listen to the question.
Yeah, on the phone call.
And he mentioned,
I mean, that her attorneys were like, oh my God, like, let's just get through this.
Yeah, she's not even listening to the question. She's like,
Yeah.
Who, what, who, what,
Right.
what?
Awful.
Tato's name on the wire calls.
But that was later on.
Okay, whenever it was.
Yeah.
He mentioned those names to you, and you didn't say, oh, I know exactly who that is. That's my baby daddy and his best friend.
But he knows Tudo's name. So
Okay, well, he didn't act like he knew it on the wire, did he?
Yes.
He did act like
No,
he
he
knew
didn't. He acted like that's why it was kind of weird when he kept saying like taco or whatever. He
Yeah.
knows Tudo's name.
Did he know Tato's name?
No.
Okay, so he'd never met Tato to your
No.
knowledge. All right, and so he knew Tuto's name. Why didn't you say Tuto? You know who Tuto is. Tuto's.
Thank you, Senecal Senders. Very kind
Yep.
of you. Book Club Red. Thank you for your intelligent opinions and
Yes.
free speech. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. And I just want to point out real quick, Katie's sister, you and your little, I don't know, Laura Ingalls Wilder braids are not doing what you
Yes.
want them to do.
Yeah, so she hadn't worn her hair like this in the trial. And then the night before, I guess, he's like, I guess an inmate braided her hair. It's what Epstein says in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So she probably did have jailmates who fixed her up for trial.
Yep. Got her
That
all braided.
happens.
My baby
Oh,
daddy.
look. Oh my gosh.
didn't
Look
say-
at
I
Crows
just-
and Gallows.
Let's see.
Sorry. Crows and
Um,
Gallows. Oh my gosh, sweetie poo. She just gave a huge
Oh,
10
that is so nice.
Leslie B
Welcome, new
membership.
members. I can't
Yes,
see who
thank
gets the new
you.
members in StreamYard, so you'll have to shout them out. Welcome,
Okay, I'm
everybody.
sorry. I do not mean to interrupt, Leslie.
You're fine. I'm going to
I'm
let this
hyped
play
up.
for a
I've had a
couple
lot
minutes.
of coffee.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm about to go get another cup.
I just told you that it sounded weird that he's saying a different name when he knows Tudo's name.
Yeah, it sounded weird. So my question is, why didn't you say, what are you talking about? You know who Tuto is.
I didn't ask.
An answer overruled.
What's your answer,
I
man?
just didn't ask.
Okay, because you don't ask questions. I mean, haven't we pretty much established that? You
Yes.
didn't ask any questions when this bump went down about what's going on? Why am I getting involved in this? Why would I help you try to figure out who this is that's extorting your mother.
I did ask.
Compound question, just a second. One question at a time.
When Charlie Adelson told you that his mother had said your name,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, when was that? When did he tell you?
See, the time frame, I'm getting confused because I don't know if it was in a phone call or when
Katie
he
is
met with
always
me in Dolce
confused.
Vita.
Okay. So,
Because he was saying ex-girlfriend before, and then all of
Mhm.
a sudden he's saying my name.
yeah, so at first he just knew ex-girlfriend. He didn't know for sure it was you.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're the one he called, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he has a lot of ex-girlfriends, as y'all discussed on the calls.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know why it is that he chose you out of all the 87 ex-girlfriends to call?
He's just exaggerating about the 87 girlfriends. I don't know why he called me.
All right.
87.
87. Like I said, I hope he also got a full STI workup, just like Jeff Lacoste.
Yeah. So, like, okay, Leslie, that's another clip of Georgia's fabulous comebacks. All the
Yes.
other 87 girlfriends that Charlie had.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be working on that one today and I'll dedicate it to Patty Ann.
How many
I was
ex-girlfriends does he have?
I was the only last ex-girlfriend, like he was stating, to his
Wrong.
knowledge.
But they didn't say last ex-girlfriend.
No, but I'm saying he said ex-girlfriend. I was his last ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
No, you weren't.
Why did you help Charlie investigate who this person was that approached his mother?
I can't tell you why, like I did. I mean, he's asked me weird stuff before, but somebody mentioned my name and that's what piqued my interest. I was like, why would somebody approach your mother?
But see, this is where they messed up. This is the big point, y'all, in the bump. They did not say Katie's name. They said an ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
And that was deliberate. So they only said
Yes.
ex-girlfriend. And so I don't know if Donna said ex-girlfriend to
Yes.
Charlie.
Yeah. No, Donna didn't say ex-girlfriend to Charlie. Donna said Katie.
Right.
So that's where that
Mhm.
is where the bump. Well, the bump would have been successful anyway, but that is where the bump wiretaps become even more successful.
Yes.
Because
yes. And that's why they
like,
always
there's-
bring in June to testify. They
Yep.
mentioned Whitney Kick because these were girls after
And then there's like a
Katie.
June, and then there's like a June Key. There's like
Oh, yeah.
another like
That was the
there's
Korean girl, I think.
yeah,
That he
yeah, that
punished in the tub or whatever.
yeah, yeah. The description from the hot tub conversation
Yes.
with Jeffrey,
Yes.
June Key was
Mhm.
punished. She's the Korean ex-girlfriend. He went to a wedding,
in
ran
like
off his
Virginia
mouth
or
and got
somewhere.
yeah. Yeah.
And he talked about, he's like, I should have moved there. Like that would have made it all go
Oh
away.
my God. Ugh.
Yeah. But I'm going to let this play a little bit more because I think Georgia says a couple good things. I think it's this clip.
They're saying my name. And then I didn't know about Tuto's name until later on.
But even before that, you were willing to help him with this problem, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it your testimony to this jury that you don't recall any of the conversation that occurred between you and Charlie Adelson at Dolce Vita?
Not that I didn't remember, I know he was saying different scenarios. Somebody bumped into his mom and he was saying different scenarios, but like I said, he
What
goes off
scenarios?
that it could be cops or it could be somebody harassing his family for money or extorting his family for money.
And
But
why would it be the cops?
I don't know, because he's always talking about the cops.
Okay, but you didn't ask him why the cops would be running an undercover operation on his mother?
No, ma'am.
And you don't remember him reading to you a phone number from a piece of paper?
No, ma'am.
Have
He
you
didn't show me a paper. He might have given me a number, like giving me a number, but he didn't show me any paper.
Okay, but you've seen the video, correct?
Of the Dolce Vita?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And he pulled out a piece of paper clearly on that video, right?
No, ma'am.
He did not.
He did not show me any
All
paper.
right. Is that you and Charlie on the video? I know you can only see your legs, but is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
She's like, I can
All
only
right, so
see
he
your
told you
legs.
different scenarios. It could be the cops, or it could be, what else?
Somebody extorting money from his
Yeah. I mean, she's such a liar.
family.
And why would somebody be extorting money from his family?
I don't know. He's had dealings with other people before, like,
But to extort, you have to have some leverage on the person, right? You have to have something on them.
I guess.
I definitely recall Charlie having a paper. She's just lying.
Yes.
And what was the thing that this person might have on Mr. Adelson?
He didn't, I mean, he might have said something, but like I said, he just goes on and on about stuff.
And he told you to find out who this was that contacted
But
his
see,
mother.
Charlie expected her to write
ma'am.
down the number, and she didn't.
Right. Remember all the confusion over the number.
Yeah. Like,
Don't you
and then
know
there's
if Donna
and then
and
there's all
Harden-
the. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
There's all the other wiretaps about her trying to translate the number
Yes.
into Sigfredo.
They're trying to
And
talk about
then-
it like in terms of money. Like it wasn't 39.46, it was 39.64.
Yeah,
or
it's like
whatever.
it's 86.70 I need to pay for the older child. I'm not gonna say his name, starts with
Yeah.
E, ends
Yeah.
with N, but his uniforms are gonna cost this. And then
Yeah.
he's like, well, then just pay it on the credit card. Like
Yeah.
like Sigfredo is not getting it. And then later on, there's another wiretap where Charlie calls. This is after, I don't know if we're there yet, but this is after the Matsuri thing. And then Donna gets the call from the bump guy, right? The undercover FBI guy. Donna records it, right? She
Mhm.
records it on some sort of app. And then there's wiretaps where Charlie is calling Katie saying, I have a CD I need you to listen to. And then he starts talking about Potbelly Pigs,
Yes.
which is code for cops.
Cops.
And then Katie's like, oh, that's not good.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
CD that Charlie wants her to listen to is actually the recording
of the call. Yeah.
of the call to Donna.
But what's hysterical to me is that like Katie, Sigfredo, like none of them they're all like too scared. And Donna, I mean, look, I don't want to say to her credit, but she was like, you know what? I'm gonna call him.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone else is stoned to hell. Okay.
Mhm.
I don't mean to be mean, but they're all under high dosages of Xannies. And
Yeah.
then also, weed is a big thing in all of this. Like they're all
Oh, sure.
and then
yeah.
Donna's like, I'll call the number. But we know now that Charlie called
After
the
her.
bump number. No, Charlie called it first.
Well, I was listening to it last night, and after Donna had the conversation, then he calls again and says, I want to know who's bugging my family.
Well, I have been saying for many years that Donna called the bump number first, but no,
Yeah.
Charlie called the bump number first.
Okay, so we'll have to go through all that. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you because
No,
you know the
no,
stuff.
you don't need
But
to.
it was
No,
I was
no,
listening to it
no,
on a
'cause-
trial, and maybe they went out of order, but it seemed like it was in the order. It was Charlie's trial yesterday. I was listening.
yeah, and well, and I had said for years that Donna called it. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
Mama
did,
Gotti
yeah.
called it first.
Mhm.
But I think when you look at the wiretap and the order of things, Charlie actually is the first one to call it. But whatever, it doesn't
What
matter.
was it? Did he call the wrong number though?
No, he called the
And
number
talked to him?
and talked to the guy,
We'll have to
but
go
then
look at
his
that.
mom calls it like a day later. But
Yeah.
but remember, it's like 9 days after the bump
Uh-huh.
that anyone calls that number.
Yeah.
Because Sigfredo and Katie are lying about trying to call
Yeah, they're
it.
saying it doesn't work, and it was
Yeah,
a
like, no, there's no
voicemail.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, because and Sigfredo's like, I'm not calling that effing number.
But honestly, Leslie, yes, we should go through it all because I honestly always believed that Donna was the first one to call. And then I got told that, nope, you're wrong. I would love, I would
Yeah,
love to prove myself initially correct,
yeah,
2 years ago, saying that Donna, that
right,
Donna, Mama Gotti was the one, but who knows?
right. Yeah, we'll look at that. So then Georgia, I love that when she starts asking Katie some more questions, and she goes, "What made you so special?" And she's like, "You act like I was getting a lot of stuff." And Georgia goes, "You're right. That's exactly what I'm acting like." So, but Katie was on the stand a total of 3 hours. So I'm gonna play this next clip. Because again, this is all just detailed in these
And
chapters, and this is just the best way. And then if there's anything like really substantial,
yeah,
I'll throw it out.
and I am loving all of the chat's comments. I know I cannot
Yeah.
comment, but I'm reading them. And thank you guys so much for being here. And
Yes.
Leslie has been doing this book series for over a month.
Yeah, I'm worn
She's been
out.
reading it. I know, hun. I know.
It took me 3 hours last. So I mean, I read the chapters, but then it took me 3 hours last night. And y'all are like, well, why do you spend all that time? But you have to go through and have these clips and things because I'm not
And
just going to read y'all excerpts.
it's because you're professional.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would just be like, oh, go off on a whim. Let's do it now.
I know. I just like to have the organized thoughts. So,
No,
all
this
right.
is awesome. You're doing a great job. Thank
Well,
you so
thank you.
much.
Yeah. I do enjoy, like, it makes me get into the details. But all right,
Yes.
here we
And
go.
thank
This
you,
is,
chat, for being here.
yes, thank you all for sure. I do go back and read it because I miss a lot of stuff.
Okay. But all these things that you have paid for, like, let's just take the breast augmentation, for example. You
Yes,
indicate
ma'am.
you paid for that.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you're putting your cash in the bank, there's no cash withdrawal to correspond to you paying cash for that breast
But I wouldn't
augmentation.
I'm not gonna deposit money that I'm gonna use already. I already saved up that money for my
Okay, so you would
breast
save the
augmentation.
money separately, not deposit it.
Well, I
and then
knew,
pay
yeah,
cash.
because I already had my consultation in the beginning of that year, the beginning of 2014, so I was already saving up
Okay,
so that when I get them. Go ahead.
you were saving up for the breast augmentation.
Yeah,
But
I
you
already had it.
needed Charlie Adelson to put you on the payroll so that you could get insurance for your kids.
I was saving because I've always wanted my breast augmentation.
Okay.
And the insurance for my kids is because my son had a disability, so I had to do a bunch of therapies for my son.
Okay. And you heard that Wendy Adelson testified that she's never known her brother to give any gifts to any ex-girlfriends. Did you hear that?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. Well, what makes you so special that Charlie Adelson wanted to give you all these things after the end of your relationship?
All these things, like, you make it seem like he's giving me all of this stuff out of the blue.
Yeah, I do make it seem like that. Why is he giving you all this stuff?
I don't know.
Why did he put you on the payroll? Is that as a favor?
Yes, ma'am.
Not as payment for murder?
No, ma'am.
Not to keep you happy?
Why wouldn't he just pay me the cash? Why would I have to get a check from somewhere?
I'm going to ask the questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So he put you on the payroll 2 months after the homicide.
I love it when prosecutors say that. I'm going to ask the questions, okay? That's
Yeah,
kind of how
well,
I would be with the teenagers when they were growing up.
yeah. Or even when like Christopher DeCoste does that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We replayed him Friday night. Gosh. Yeah, we're gonna get to him in a minute too. Woo.
Yes?
2 months after the homicide, I started. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And were you involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Adelson at that time?
I'm not 100% sure, like at the time frame. I believe so.
Okay, so you were still sleeping with him after the homicide.
I believe so.
And was there an actual job opening at the Adelson Institute that you filled with this position?
No, ma'am.
All right, so it's a position that he created for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you heard testimony from the employees that work there that they've never heard of anybody working remotely before in the history of that office. Why did Mr. Adelson create a position for you?
Well,
That's never been
I
done
asked him
before.
for a favor if he can do that.
Yeah, I bet you did. Hey, Charlotte, welcome. Happy you're Charlotte James. Welcome. Yeah, asked him for a favor. But do you know how hard it had to be for Katie to be in prison or jail for years? I mean, she couldn't talk to Charlie anymore to like get their story straight unless it was going through attorneys. But don't you kind of wonder how that went? I often wonder about that. And then it's like Charlie didn't even watch this trial, which is now what's his face? Rashbaum does attend the 2022 trial.
Well,
So,
okay, so in Katie's proffers, she's begging to talk to Sigfredo, like both times.
right.
She's
Yeah.
like,
And they're
I
like,
just need
no.
to talk to Sigfredo.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah. No, that's not how this works. That's definitely not how it works. Okay. So then I loved that though when they said what makes you so special. That's like one of my favorite. I have a lot of favorite Georgia quotes, but I love it when she says that. So Katie was on the stand like 3 hours, right? And then there was one rebuttal witness, and it was Corbett with the text evidence. So the text evidence was really key, showing how much Katie was lying. And then Judge Hankinson, did you know this? I'm sure you did, but I didn't remember. But he announces that they're going to do closing arguments the next morning and then jury deliberations. And he says if they don't have a verdict by early evening, that all the jurors need to be ready because they're going to be sequestered.
Yeah, no, I knew that he had said that
Yeah. And it said,
because he wanted them in a bubble, to make the decision.
right. And I'm sure it was being heavily covered on the news, but I loved that. And then Epstein says a little extra incentive to reach a unanimous verdict as quickly as possible. So I thought that was great. True Crime Wifey, you're so sweet. You didn't need to do that.
Don't worry about me. Hey, listen, so I actually think that, okay, I know that Judge Hankinson has passed, but I think that Judge Hankinson got a feeling about the purple-haired juror. Okay, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
like I think because he's no nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I know he comes across as very harsh, and I've told this story before. Okay, I was in front of him in a surrounding county court many years ago, and I had already been told, like, he's no nonsense. You don't have sunglasses on your head. You don't come in there talking. Do not chew
Mm-hmm.
gum. And back then, okay, I have very, majorly curly hair, and I always wore sunglasses. I had put them up on top of my head as like a headband, but I had forgotten. And
Like
I
Wendy did in
remember
her
him.
interview.
Well, I remember him like saying, like, ma'am in the gallery, take
Oh,
those sunglasses off your head. Like, I was like, oh,
wow.
no, he was talking to me. But
Wow.
I mean, I immediately, okay, I had already been warned.
Yeah.
But I had known him from other cases prior to that, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't give a shit who you were. Like he's no nonsense. He
I
can
love it.
sense something that is off.
Yeah.
And sunglasses on top of your head, chewing gum in his gallery, like drinking water or taking a snack. Like that is not happening.
So kind of reminds me of the judge in the Blaze Taylor case. I mean, that guy
Yeah.
had you couldn't have anything.
Yeah, and listen, okay, and I don't have any ill feelings about him at all because I was like, holy moly, oh my god, I forgot about my damn sunglasses. I
Yeah.
literally was like, I ripped them off my head so fast and shoved them into my purse. I was like, oh,
I'm
so sorry.
But I like it when a judge is like, we're gonna respect the law here because that's how you keep control of your courtroom, right? Like I don't really like that. I mean, I know we like it as trial watchers, but when they let all the media be in the gallery, like tweeting everything, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
But
no, he would have never allowed
mhm,
laptops, cell phones. He would have never allowed any of that like nonsense or debacle. Like no,
yeah,
he was straight up like, this is the rule of the law. You're in here for a purpose. If you're not here for what we're here for, get the fuck out. I mean, he would never say that, but I'm just saying, I feel like that's his attitude.
yeah. Well, God may he rest in peace. So the trial was 2 weeks, y'all, before they even got to the closing. So they had more than 40 witnesses. But remember, 2 people were on trial, 200 exhibits, and over 30 wiretap calls. The judge told each side they have 2 hours. And by each side, there were 3 sides because you had Sigfredo's attorney, Katie's, and then, of course, the state. And Georgia, if y'all watch this trial, and she was nervous in this trial. Do you agree with me? I think a lot of y'all,
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
tell she's
because
nervous. Yeah.
one of the biggest things that I noticed during her closing, she's talking about Sigfredo and Luis being in Tallahassee and shooting out the gas line. She's like, "Oh, they go to the side of the thing, go to the road," and like
Yeah.
she kind of messes up that whole, like, go to the store to fix the thing. Like she's not explaining
Mhm.
that Shadrick took Sigfredo to the store to get a gas line to come back and fix it. Yes, I agree that she is a little
Yeah.
like convoluted, if you will, but
Mhm.
yeah, but if you watch that, she's like, "Oh, they he shoots out the gas line. They go to the store to fix the thing and get the thing." Like
And she'll
yeah.
say yada yada yada, and she has a lot of problems with this PowerPoint, which I mean, God knows, I know that feeling. And you know how in Donna's trial, she was like, "Clickergate. I always have problems with clickers." Um, but I think she grew a lot. But he talks about how this portion was just not great. Like her first 30 minutes, she pretty much just reads, and she does get a lot better and gets to the evidence.
Yeah,
But
by the time she's at Charlie's trial, she is
in her
like
groove.
spot on.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm gonna play a little bit of this closing.
Members of the jury, good morning. All right, members of the jury. The evidence has shown that on July 18th, 2014, this community suffered a blow when revered law professor, colleague, son, father, brother, and friend was gunned down in broad daylight in his own home. What enemy or enemies had Mr. Markel made that set into motion such a brutal act? The answer, his own family. What offense had Mr. Markel committed against these people? Wanting to be a good father, refusing to let his children be taken away from him. You've heard a lot about bits and pieces versus the full picture. This is the full picture, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And this is what all the little bits and pieces over the last couple weeks have added up to. What was the motive for this murder? Wendy Adelson characterized her divorce as unpleasant, but the evidence shows that that is a severe understatement. When they separated in 2012, Wendy Adelson left with the children while Dr. Markel was away on a business trip. This is from State 75. Quote, the wife was gone, the boys were gone, the house.
So she's just reading. He said that she had her whole closing just typed up in a 3-ring binder and made very little eye contact, and she's reading. And she did this for about the first 30 minutes.
Was
Yeah.
half plundered. The Schwab accounts had been raided and divorce papers had been left on the bed. Most importantly, there was no indication of where the wife and
Isn't it? It's just wild to see that. He also said that like she would just read the divorce pleadings. She mentions the drive-by Trescott WhatsApp, King Tato. She's like, he's a bad dude. She does tell them you don't have to rely on Luis Rivera. The whole case doesn't hinge on him. And then she kind of got more in her groove when she starts showing that Garcia's shirt, he had a white shirt on, and then compares that with that ATM, and then talks about the height of the shooter. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while. And
Mhm.
I just feel like, okay, so this is I don't know where she quotes the fact that she seems like a duck,
Oh,
like
mhm.
gliding on a pond, but underneath, like
Yes.
her feet are paddling like a crazy person. Like this is like the confidence,
Right.
right? She has the competence, but not the confidence. And
Agree.
that is something that I learned a long time ago when supervising people.
Mhm.
You build their confidence and their competence.
Mhm. That's good
And
distinction. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if, well, at this point in time, I don't know if Georgia has that confidence. She has the competence, but not
Mhm.
the confidence. And even, even throughout the years of these trials, it's still today, I believe that she has the competence to go for the unindicted co-conspirators, but not the confidence. And I
I agree.
100% blame that on her superiors
Mhm.
because today, in today's day and age, she should not be worried about
I agree.
confidence.
But also think about like all the eyes on this. So this was
But
2019. So yes, it had been on Nancy Grace and all those, but this is a televised trial. I'm gonna guess this was her first one. I mean, that's a lot of pressure all of a sudden,
it's
right?
not her first one. No, she has
Not televised.
well, it might be no, it's not the first one televised, but it might be her first chair one,
Mhm.
if you will. But she has prosecuted at this point in time, she has prosecuted Gary Michael Hilton, serial killer.
Mhm.
She was second chair to Willie Meggs in that. She has prosecuted Adam Frash in the murder
Oh,
of
that's true.
Samira.
Yeah.
She has prosecuted the Page dude that killed Hoyt Berg. That's a whole nother large case in Tallahassee. Georgia has the competence and the confidence, but someone somewhere
Mhm.
is making her think that she does not have the confidence to go for Wendy and Harvey.
Well, maybe
That's
it's
my
some
opinion.
YouTubers. Could be. Or
Okay,
maybe it's
I'll get off my soapbox.
yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there something is happening
Mhm.
in in the broader scheme of things.
Politics, yeah. But she hit on all these things. Like she hits on the forensics that Mary Hole laid out about the cash deposits and um So then she went into the black Lexus information. So this is just like a little video that I had created a while back for Andrew because he was asking in every chat
Sorry, I
20
went off
times.
on a tangent.
No, you're good. You're good.
I went off on a tangent. I apologize.
You're fine.
States
And
one
and I think that this is what happens to me in
November 10th.
regards to the
Yeah.
case, but like I think about her progression over the years and how successful she is. And then I'm like, why? Like, why don't we have indictments
Yeah.
for Wendy and or Harvey, who are still considered unindicted co-conspirators?
It's a good question.
I wonder what's going on. It maybe you know what? Well, and I've even texted you this. Like they have Adelson fatigue, which is what I get every few years or every few months. Like going through all of this, maybe she has it, but something is holding her back from the arrest.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is because the evidence is there, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So then she hits on the Lexus.
of 2015, Charlie Adelson paid $1,620.77 for repairs to her Mazda. The black Lexus, which was formerly owned by Harvey Adelson, and which she told Yendra Mascaro was a gift, and which, according to Mascaro, was in pristine condition, she acquired the title to that on January 23rd, 2016. All of these things post-murder, and all of them post-relationship with Mr. Adelson. Should be noted that on November 5th, 2015, Charlie Adelson.
Yeah, the whole Lexus thing is just like that to me. I mean, do y'all think that Wendy was like, what are y'all thinking? Do you think she even knew?
I mean, Sigfredo and Katie are both driving the Lexus
Right.
when they're busted.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I don't know. I would have been like, what? Y'all can't do that. But then after, so Georgia does her closing and then, she'll get her rebuttal. Then Zanganea goes and he's like less than an hour. He really is like trying to pinpoint Rivera because he's defending Garcia, right? But his whole theory of the whole trial was that the real reason for the Tallahassee trip was that it was just for a drug deal between Shodrick and Luis Rivera. And that it was a total gangsta killing Dan Markel. He also painted out that Shodrick lived in his car, which
was true.
Yeah. And then last week we did show some of his testimony, and I saw that Sidebar Snoop was asking about the club testimony, that owner. I'll find it. Yes, because usually in these older trials they're kind of buried in there, but I'll find it for you.
And the club owner testimony is hilarious.
Yeah, it is because like the checks bounced, and it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Yeah.
Oh no, I can't. Well, I mean, I'm not a business owner. However, he literally admits that yes, there might be nights that someone's making $1,000, but a majority of the nights are like 100, and there's like losers in the bar.
Exactly. But we're gonna play some of Chris. He's pretty masterful, I will say.
I adore Chris DeCoste. I hope I never need him.
I know, but if you do,
if I do, that's who I'm calling.
Roadmap.
Yeah.
The first thing I'm going to talk about is how the investigation into Catherine McManus was not objective. The second thing, the dismissal by the government, the outright dismissal of the problems and the conflicts with Luis Rivera's testimony. The third thing, how the government is ignoring evidence of Catherine McBano's innocence. Now, before we get deeper into it, the government, they talked about their burden. They have to prove two things: that a crime was committed and that the person or persons they've charged were involved in it. A majority of the evidence in this case, a vast majority of it, proves that a crime was committed. It's all over there on that table.
I mean, Beach Chillin's right.
We don't
Yeah,
disagree with any of
I
that
agree.
evidence. We absolutely agree. Look, I've spent years looking at this
Also
case.
remember,
If I've
Willie
learned
Meggs is
anything,
scared shitless since
Professor Dan Markel.
1987.
Right. And then it changed over to Jack, but
Yeah.
we all know how we feel.
So if anyone ever wants to do a deep dive, and this is why I support, I'm so sorry, but this is why I support Willie Meggs. Willie Meggs was totally considered a national travesty in the 1987 case of the Finders. If you know anything about the Finders, it was an FBI vault drop in November of 2019. 380 pages of information. It was a horrible,
Wow.
horrible case. Willie Meggs was correct in what was happening, but he got totally shamed by the CIA and the FBI in 1987 in regards to the Finders, and that shunned him and made him shy of any real prosecution. That I'll just make that statement.
Mm. Well,
I've studied it. I've studied it extensively, Leslie.
I'm
I
not
can have a
doubting you.
conversation. Yeah, no, I'll have a conversation with you later about it.
Okay.
It was child abuse, sadistic like stuff with the government. Okay, that's I'm speaking like that on purpose, but
Okay. Oh, I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
if you
Oh, shoot.
if you have any,
I didn't mean to do
like,
that. Hold on.
no, he got very scared and was never going to fight anybody of substance at that point in time, and that was 1987. Okay.
Well, we all think I don't know. It just frustrates me. I do think somebody said it earlier that the hung jury, I think, definitely did not help George's confidence. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's when they decided that they were going to go one by one for
Mhm.
years, which is, but that's when they decided one by one.
Right.
I still believe that an arrest will happen. Some others don't believe it, but I still believe it will.
Well, we're gonna at least watch Chris DeCoste because that's or DeCoste, however you pronounce it. But he tells this story. So his whole closing is that Katie's just a pawn. She's just a pawn to get to Charlie Adelson. And all throughout his closing, he'll like get very dramatic and look at Georgia and go, if you think it's Charlie, then arrest him. It's good. It's a good point. So Epstein writes on page 411, to illustrate the state's failure to investigate his client objectively, he told a story. He said his father had shared with him when he was a boy. His dad had been driving in the Midwest, he recounted, amid the farmland. Along the road, he spotted a barn. A boy with a bow and arrow was standing between the road and the barn. His father noticed a few circular targets painted onto the side of the barn with an arrow sticking out one of the bullseyes. His dad pulled over, hoping to witness the boy's precision as an archer. As he looked on, the youngster shot an arrow into the side of the barn. but wildly missed all of the targets. Yet he didn't appear the least bit fazed by the careless shot. Instead, the lad calmly walked up to the side of the barn with a can of paint and painted a new target around the arrow that he just fired. DeCoste told jurors that was precisely how the government had investigated Katie. The idea was to paint the target around her to force her to cooperate. I thought it was a really good story, I will say, and a good visual. But I pulled this image. It's not the actual barn. But I think Chris is I think he's a great attorney. I do. So now I'm going to share a little bit of him.
But when they looked at her, they didn't look at her to objectively investigate her. Instead, they tried to build a case around her to force her to cooperate so that they could get what they've been going after for years now, the Adelson family. Someday, there will likely be a jury in this courthouse determining the fate.
Isn't that awesome? He says someday in this courthouse, Adelsons will be here in this courthouse to determine their fate. You know, it's chilling to watch it now.
One or all the Adelsons. But you're not that jury. You're here. And again, these are separate cases. It's state of Florida v. Sigfredo Garcia. State of Florida v. Catherine McVanwell. We talked about it in jury selection. These are not together. It's not a package deal. You're here to determine the guilt individually. Catherine McVanwell. Again, she's innocent. You know, if the government wants to charge the Adelsons, charge them. It appears that they have more evidence against them than the defendants in this courtroom. You know, years ago, many, many years ago in our civilization, in times of strife, drought, famine, we'd be willing to sacrifice the innocent for the betterment of all. But we all know we've advanced as a society. What happened to Dan Markel was tragic, but convicting an innocent woman doesn't fix that. Nor does it in any way honor the memory of Professor Dan Markel. Now, two things the government has to do. Prove that a crime was committed. There was a crime, he was murdered. We absolutely do not disagree with that. But with respect to Ms. McVanwell, they have to prove that she was involved. All of that has to do with a crime. This staff right here, which includes financials, which includes CDs, wiretaps. This is the case against her. This right here, this is the evidence against her. Our first topic, how the investigation into Catherine McVanwell was not objective. Instead, it was to build a case because of what their target is. Let me give you some examples, and we saw it in this trial from some of the witnesses. And we saw the early stages of objectivity, the middle stages, in the testimony. Investigator Jason Newland took the stand. He talked about how he got information about a gun, and he went out and found that gun, but how that gun didn't match up with the case. But he didn't just leave it there. He didn't just dismiss it. No. Took a photograph.
Okay. All right. So then we're going to go. Now, Georgia's getting more on her game with her rebuttal. Thank God.
Not hired by Garcia, would he be giving up Garcia? It doesn't make any sense. The defense says Garcia would never do this job for Charlie Adelson. Well, that may be true, but you'd be surprised how much people would set aside for the right amount of money. He also would do anything for Catherine McVanwell, and she was the one asking. And thirdly, I'm not sure he knew he was doing it for Charlie Adelson because he told Rivera they were there for Wendy. His understanding, Rivera's understanding, which he got from Garcia, is that they were there for Wendy, to help Wendy get her kids back, not for Charlie. I mean, yeah, Wendy's the sister, but I don't know. He was pretty mad in that phone call, I think, when he found out that Charlie was in the picture. The Wendy sighting. Okay, so the evidence was that it is possible that they saw Wendy on the sidewalk based on the phone stuff. Yes.
Okay, I thought this was interesting. To my knowledge, I don't know that she really talks about it to this much detail about the Wendy sighting when, Lewis in his proper, he looked and she looked. So she's talking a little bit more about it here.
The kids went to daycare that day. Could she have gotten him out of daycare? It's possible. But I think what's more likely, I never heard him say that the woman he saw walked into the house. So y'all have to rely on your own memories. I thought he said he saw her on the sidewalk near the house and she walked toward Dan Markel's house in that direction. So you got these two guys driving around Benton Hills. They're sticking out like sore thumbs. They're high as kites. They're trying to basically do a murder. So they're probably paranoid.
This is 2019. So Sigfredo and Katie are both on trial.
And they see a woman and a couple kids on the sidewalk. Garcia says to Rivera, "Oh, that's her."
They might not be sticking out like large thumbs. No, I'm just saying, like, they're driving around in a green Prius. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
that's
for sure.
normal. That's
Right.
normal around here. She says, like, what does she just say? She said, I'm not being told that. What did Georgia just say? But she said,
I'll back it up.
and essentially she says, like, Rivera says that he sees them, or he sees Wendy and the boys on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is where we get to the 8:43 a.m. alarm going off. Like, we don't know what happened because police did not find out what happened. So therefore, prosecution's not going to know. They're going to have the Mrs. Park lady saying something that cannot be corroborated. And it's another piece of the puzzle that wasn't followed up on by TPD. And the TPD people following up on all of the leads. Because remember, on 7/21, which was Monday, after Dan was shot, the Tallahassee Police Department puts out a tip line. They're getting tons and tons of tips. The police report only reveals certain tips of note or tips of whatever. Who knows what tips they got that never got documented?
Right.
And then the ones that did get documented, they're basically saying it's a nothing burger. But when you read the tips, you're like, something's happening here.
Right. All right. Let's see what
They saw Wendy on the sidewalk based on the phone stuff. Yes, the kids went to daycare that day. Could she have gotten him out of daycare? It's possible. But I think what's more likely, I never heard him say that the woman he saw walked in.
Okay, so she said they could.
I thought he said,
could she have gotten them out of daycare? It's possible. So
yeah.
So
I just don't think they investigated that enough, but I'll leave it there.
That kind of feeds to, I mean, like in future, there's trials that we all stipulate that she dropped them off at 8:30 a.m. Like,
right. And I think that's what she's saying. Did she go back and get them out?
Yeah, but why are we all stipulating to that in the future when at this point in time, Georgia doesn't even know if the kids were dropped off then?
I agree.
Okay,
you
sorry.
saw her on the sidewalk near the house and she walked up the sidewalk toward Dan Markel's house, like, in that direction. So you got these two guys driving around Benton Hills. They're sticking out like sore thumbs. They're high as kites. They're trying to basically do a murder. So they're probably paranoid. And they see a woman and a couple kids on the sidewalk. Garcia says to Rivera, "Oh, that's her. That's the lady." And what Rivera said is that when Katie called to tell them, y'all got to get this done tomorrow, that they said, we saw Wendy, or we saw the lady with the kids. So that was my memory of the evidence. You guys rely on your own. Well, I have no reason to doubt that they saw somebody on the sidewalk. I cannot tell you that it was Wendy Adelson. I do not have that evidence. They have tried and tried to draw these links between, Rivera and some other Latin king coming up here, or Charlie dealing directly with Sigfredo Garcia in the absence of Ms. Magdalena.
Oh.
There's just no evidence of it. And
I mean, she just said that like Garcia and another Latin king coming up here to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She's
That's what
talking.
Zanganega was trying to say.
Well, we kind of know that.
Oh, Anthony
kinda
Ortiz.
know- Well, yes. And okay, so I was saying for a long time Jorge Barea, but now that we've seen his
Jail.
his jail call interview that took apparently ML forever to decipher through and get it onto audio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that we've heard that, but we also know that, and this is based on your book report because I did not read the book. Anthony Ortiz is Hibaro, right? Hibaro.
Yeah, and Sigfredo's roommate.
Yes. And I know that Anthony Ortiz got killed in a motorcycle crash in Rhode Island years later. But Georgia just said that, I mean, that's because Zanganay knows that there was an attempt done beforehand.
In May.
Yeah, possibly in May, because remember we asked Grish. He said possibly May, based on the phone calls. I still don't know if that's true, because when you look at the phone records that are in evidence and pulled and that have been presented in trial, it does not go before June 2nd.
Right. Exactly.
Like what?
The wiretaps and all that, or the
well, why don't we have? Well, I'm assuming that they have those records, but we have not been presented those records.
Yeah. So they need to let us take a look. All right.
Yeah, like I want the whole file.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
have to base your verdict on evidence. I mean, that's in the jury instructions. I'm not making it up. They have gotten creative in trying to, do the deep sea fishing thing, and you guys can take that back there and read the whole thing and make your own mind up. All right, it's a race. All right, so I want to talk just for a moment at the very end here about the shape of this conspiracy. It's like a train. They can be, a cluster. They can be like spokes of a wheel. But in this case, there really kind of appears that each of these people are isolated from the other one. Donna's only connection to the conspiracy is Charlie. Charlie's connection is, goes down the line like that. You can't get from the engine to the caboose without going through the middle. And the middle is Catherine Magdalena. Why did she pay for Garcia's lawyer? Not because the lawyer did anything wrong. I'm not throwing shade at him. She paid for another co-conspirator's attorney. That's relevant for your consideration and to whether or not this is a conspiracy. Just, all I want you to do is listen to The Wire again if you have any doubts about these two's guilt in this thing. Just because Catherine Magdalena didn't come to Tallahassee or pull the trigger herself does not mean that she is not just as guilty as the ones who did. She hired Garcia, who in turn hired Rivera, and she's the conduit between Dan Markel and the man that put a bullet in his head. Without her, none of this happens. Without her, we're not sitting here today. I'm concerned that you'll get back there and say, well, she didn't pull the trigger, and we'll just do conspiracy and solicitation. Consider all of the offenses and evidence and whether it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Do not let concerns about sentencing or ramifications, sympathies, other things like that bleed into your deliberations. Catherine Magdalena is just as guilty as Sigfredo Garcia in this phase of the trial where y'all are considering guilt for first-degree murder. The efforts to distract you from what this case is really about, including trying to make all these other links. Think about Rivera, but also, why do we believe Rivera? Because of the financial evidence, the wiretap, the phone activity, the iCloud messages, and the absence of any other reasonable explanation. Should all lead you to one conclusion. That image that I have, will you pull that out, please? bits and pieces, the full picture. This is the clean window. Rivera was all in for this job. This was his best friend, whether it was a robbery or a murder or whatever. He would have been the shooter. It just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, she's
Maybe
right
not
though.
in front of the kids, but certainly he would have been the shooter. Rivera is not on trial, as I mentioned. He has been convicted of this crime. And yes, I do hope that every single person who has any culpability in the death of Dan Markel will be held accountable. Today, y'all are going to decide about these two.
Yeah, and just for anybody listening, she showed I call it the family tree of the crime, but you know, the classic one we've seen of everybody's pictures and who's linked to who.
Yeah, the
It's on a poster
train.
board. Yeah.
She calls it the train. I mean, in my
train.
song, I say you cannot escape that you are a part of the chain.
Yeah.
Instead
yeah.
of train, I say chain. But so in regards to whether or not Wendy and Sigfredo were in cahoots with each other outside of Charlie and Katie, it
Mhm.
still does not make Charlie and Katie not culpable
Right.
because they were the ones who started the
Absolutely.
train.
And they are furthering
So,
the plan.
yes, furthering the plan. And
Mhm.
even if Charlie and Katie did not know that Sigfredo and Wendy got into contact with each other outside of them, Charlie, Katie, Donna are still guilty as charged
Mhm.
and as convicted.
Right.
It doesn't change what we've seen in trials. This is my point of why they should indict Wendy, because there has to be information that
Mhm.
Wendy circumvented the two idiots, Katie and Charlie, FUCKing each other and not even worrying about the hit, right? Like for
Right.
9 months. And Wendy circumvented them and went to Sigfredo on her own.
But I
And
totally agree.
Luis is totally thinking in his proffer, in his testimony, that Sigfredo and Wendy know each other. Something's happening between them.
Mhm. That's right.
So it does not change what's happened in trials. It's just going to be a new layer of how Georgia needs to go after Wendy. That's my opinion.
Well, she better get on it. So Georgia has just closed and now it's time for deliberations. Y'all, this jury had 10 women and 2 men. These are just some facts. 2 of the jurors were pregnant. One was visibly pregnant, one not. The one not, that comes into play later. 2 of the jurors were at least 60 or older. They agreed to discuss Sigfredo first, just because they said it was a little more clear cut. And the 4-person, and at the end, now it's changed a lot in trials. Like when the judge polls the jury, instead of saying people's names like, hey, Leslie B, or whatever, now they just say juror 2, juror 3. But the 4-person, his name's Douglas Russ Meisel, or Russ Meisel, and his name is in the book. They say his name. But what was interesting, because if you've ever served on a jury, you can't talk about anything until you actually get sent to the deliberation room. And they all immediately start talking about what their impressions of Wendy were. So I thought, oh, everyone is going to really enjoy this. And this is in chapter 25, Civic Duty. But one lady wrote that they considered her, in quotes, she's a lying bitch. They were all turned off by her. Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
Yeah. It was in quotes and big. She's a lying bitch.
And oh my God, like I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't realize that Doug Russ-Massell was the 4-person.
You know him?
No comment.
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk. They said she was dripping with white privilege, that she had obviously had a lot of cosmetic work, expensive cosmetic work. They were, quote, repulsed by how Wendy had done everything within her power to erase her ex, his family, from Ben and Lincoln's lives. Jurors found her testimony evasive and dishonest, especially her statement that she hadn't driven down Trescott Drive to the crime scene, which they knew from other evidence was not true. Many were particularly disturbed by her cavalier response and laughter at the notion she might someday be charged. And it said, one juror scribbled, "She's a lying bitch." Not only did they agree amongst themselves that Wendy likely had some foreknowledge about the murder plot, given the opportunity, the group wouldn't have had the slightest difficulty convicting her mother and brother of first-degree murder. It made no sense to jurors that anyone else would have hired two hitmen to drive all the way from Miami to execute Wendy's ex-husband. That Katie and Charlie were in a sexual relationship at that very time made the connection between the Adelsons and the killers as clear as a crisp blue sky. I mean, wow. And that's on page 426 for any of you that have the book. Another thing they said, it was difficult for them to grasp why the only three individuals the state seemed willing to prosecute were members of minority groups from underprivileged backgrounds. Mere underlinings who'd done the Adelsons' dirty work. Something about that seemed very, very wrong. But they realized they held no power to bring members of the Adelson family to justice. But for now, they had their own job to do. Is that craziness? I thought that was like, yeah. So there, Adelson hater says, will a jury hate Wendy if they never hear her testify enough to find her guilty? That's a great point. Guarantee y'all, she is not going to testify. There's no freaking way. So would anyone see how smug she is? That's the question. One of them. Okay, so then this jury has questions, right? So they immediately start going through the evidence. And one thing they're all saying is, well, how could, if Garcia didn't do the shooting, then how could he be guilty of first-degree murder? Let me find the exact question so I can read it. So while they were asking this question is when they all started talking about Wendy. They said if both Rivera and Garcia had been in Dan Markel's driveway with the intention to kill him, they were equally guilty of first-degree murder, no matter which of them actually pulled the trigger. One juror said the scenario that Garcia might have believed they'd come to Tally to merely rob Dan and only learned of the intent to kill him after Rivera fired the gun. So then how could Garcia be guilty of first-degree murder? So the foreperson had to send that to the judge, and he comes back and says, basically, you know, you're not supposed to, well, let me read exactly how he answered it. He told the jurors he couldn't answer their question because it asked him to apply the facts to the law, which was their job. He'd answer most of their question in much of the same fashion, which jurors found frustrating. And I can say it is frustrating. I know when I was doing this, asking questions, and it's like you have to go on your memory, and then everybody's debating about their memory. So if you ever get on jury duty, all I can say is you better take a lot of really good notes, and
Yeah.
people do too.
And remember,
just-
Judge Hankinson is the only one during all of these trials who actually asks the jury questions.
Right.
Because
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
because Wheeler did not allow it, and neither does Everett.
Right. Yep. So then they keep going back and forth about who was there and who was not. So then they start arguing about cell phone evidence and that they believed there was evidence of a payoff. And there was an outspoken juror, 25-year-old woman, who pressed the group on the state's burden of proof that Katie had received money, but there was really not total proof that it was from the Adelsons. And they were like, that's not true. Corbett showed it all with the cell phone maps. So then they asked for a cell phone map that Corbett used during his testimony. And they said, we're told no, that was a demonstrative. So it wasn't an actual piece of evidence. So they had to rely on their memory.
Yeah, they can't bring in demonstratives.
Mhm.
But okay, so and I'm gonna need people to remind me. Didn't Mary Hall testify
Oh, yeah.
in the first one?
Yeah, and Georgia used a lot of her info in her closing.
Okay.
And so that's where they get back to all that, talking about it. So they do agree that they're gonna vote yeah on Sigfredo, but they were sequestered that night because he said, yeah, you're gonna be sequestered until we have verdicts on both. And at 8:30 p.m., they were bused to the 12-story Sheraton Four Points adjacent to Florida State's campus. Listen to this. The elevator
Which was
doors
newly
opened.
renovated. It was
Yeah,
newly
okay.
renovated then because it was broken down for many years. But yes, it was newly
Oh.
renovated. It's a circular
Oh, yeah. We used
hotel.
to have a
It's
circular
very nice
Sheraton.
now.
Oh.
It's very nice now.
Well,
Or it's very nice then, but for about a decade before this, it was
yeah. Well, then they all had they were on one floor. They had half a dozen officers stationed throughout the hallway. I mean, ensuring the group remained isolated. Each juror was allowed to make a phone call, but only while being guarded by an officer. By far, the worst news of all was that breakfast was served at 5 a.m. I would be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to eat.
I
Can
love
y'all
it.
imagine? But I
Yep.
mean, Lincolnson's like, this will make them get to a
Yep.
verdict.
Yeah, come get your continental, sweetie
Yeah, come
poos.
get your croissant. Yeah, you're gonna be hungry fast. And back then, I mean, I doubt Premier shakes were readily available. That's what I would be getting. Said after their ridiculously early start, jurors were back on the bus to the courthouse, arriving before 8 a.m. Is that not craziness? So they're
No,
still
this is
talking about Katie.
fabulous.
Yeah.
This is fabulous, in my opinion.
Yeah. So 11 of the 12 were in favor. The 25-year-old woman seemed more and more entrenched now. And she was having trouble with Garcia's premeditation. And she kept wondering about Ethan and Kaylee Garcia, their kids. So this is the holdout one.
Which is not
Right.
what the law says. Which is
Yeah.
not what the law says.
Correct.
So yeah, so she got brought on and I'm sorry. So she made it to the jury and not willing to follow the law.
Right, exactly. So then it says she was asking herself, is it morally and ethically permissible for the criminal justice system to yank Ethan and Kaylee's parents away from them? And that the atmosphere in the jury room was getting more and more intense. And I can only imagine, because I'm sure people are like, that's not our job. Because I got into this on my little trial thing I served on. People were like, I mean, y'all, they're going to put him away for life. I said, they're not going to put him away for life for fentanyl. I said, but it doesn't even matter because we're not supposed to determine that. We're not supposed to think about
you're
the
not
punishment.
supposed to.
You're supposed to think about the crime. Yep. But she said it would be impossible.
So worried. She's so worried about the kids. Like the kids are not supposed to be even a factor in your decision.
Mm-hmm. But she just said it would be impossible for her to vote guilty. And then finally, after lunch, she relented and agreed she would vote guilty on Garcia, but she would absolutely not vote guilty on Katie.
Yeah.
And she
So,
just said there wasn't enough evidence, is what she
yeah,
said.
yep, just little social justice warrior with your
Uh-huh.
septum ring,
Yep.
following
Yep.
the law as far as I'm concerned. And that's not offending anyone who has a septum ring. I'm just saying there's a stereotype there.
Right. And then it says the 25-year-old juror was adamant she wasn't going to vote to convict Katie and take both parents away from their children because she just kept saying there wasn't burden, beyond a reasonable doubt. She also persuaded another female juror to side with her, which we've always said it was 11-1, but it ended up being 10-2. And it always had thrown me off because in Ruth's book, she said it was 10-2.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So she swayed it. And this is what happened on my jury duty. We were split. And then the little, justice warrior that's like, he's going to get life. And then she even said, if we don't agree, the judge will determine the verdict. I'm like, y'all don't know what the hell y'all are
Yeah,
talking about. But
that
she
doesn't
started
happen.
swaying people. I mean, y'all, it's, and you get so frustrated. So they told the others there was no way, there was not enough to quote, nail Katie to the wall. So then they sent out a question and said, hey, can we have a verdict on one person, but not another? So I'm going to bring this up where they basically do just that.
Yeah.
And you can hear Katie whimpering and,
Well, I mean, Katie was whimpering throughout the entire verdict of Sigfredo and her trial,
mhm,
and then even also her sentencing. Like
I know.
and then she's also under that COVID mask, so it like was all wet and snotty. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, she drives me crazy. All right, so now we'll watch this portion.
From the jury, I assume everybody has a copy of the note.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
For the record, it says, the jury has reached a verdict on one defendant, all counts, and is hung on the second defendant on all counts. I'll hear from y'all how you wish to proceed. What's the state's position?
We'd be requesting an Allen charge on the second count.
So this is what the prosecution or the Florida is saying. That's that guy. I can't think of his name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He's saying, okay, we'll take the verdict on the first one. Then we want the Allen charge. So all the attorneys are giving their opinion. And then Zanganeh is like, yeah, I agree. And then he's like, well, if they're hung on Sigfredo, I don't want the Allen charge. And Hakinson's like, yeah, no, I'm going to be the one to make the decision here.
I guess there's some question as to whether or not we take the verdict on the first defendant and then give them an Allen charge and send it back on the second defendant.
Well, what do you suggest?
We take the verdict on the first defendant, then give them the Allen charge and send it back, sit on the second defendant.
Garcia?
I agree.
McBandler?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree too, because we would be requesting the Allen charge if they're hung on the smack battle.
Well, we'll find out. I guess. Anyway, so
I
everybody's
mean, Tara
agreement, I will
knows.
take the verdict on whichever defendant it is that they have decided. I will excuse that defendant and the attorneys. And you can stay if you want, but there's no reason. And then I will give them Allen charge as to the second defendant.
Mr. Ron, just for the record, with regards to if the defendant that's hung is Mr. Garcia, we would not be requesting Allen charge, just for the record.
I tell you
Oh.
what, I'm gonna change my mind about the one leaving, because
Oh, there you
depends.
go.
If it's Mr. Garcia that's been convicted, we still need to talk about, how we're gonna proceed next. So anyway, I think they are shackled at this point in time. They'll just, there is a skirt there. They'll just remain seated.
They remain
When the
shackled.
jury
Yeah.
comes in.
That's good
I'm
that
sorry, let me
Sangane
respond
brought
to
that up.
I know. I love that. Yep. All shackled.
Because it made Judge Hankinson think, oh, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
one,
I'm gonna just,
neither one of these two are gonna suggest an Allen charge after the fact. We're gonna have them still seated in here when it
Mm-hmm.
all goes down.
Yeah. Because see, Sigfredo, y'all, was still up for the death penalty. So it goes on to another phase.
not now. I'm not gonna wait and see who's who as to what I'm going to do, Mr. Sanguinetti. So, I don't think you can have it both ways. I'm on, if they're at this point hung on one, whichever one it is, I'm gonna give an Allen charge. I'm gonna accept the verdict on the other one. All right, let's have a jury in, please.
I love Judge Hankinson.
Me too.
Jury's in the courtroom.
Everybody be seated, please. And Mr. Russ Weissel, the notes have been from you, and I see you with the verdict form in your hand. Are you our foreperson?
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that you have reached a verdict as to one of the defendants. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you hand that verdict to the bailiff, please, sir?
Leslie, I texted you how I know Russ Meisel.
Oh, okay.
There should be no reaction to the verdict from anyone in the audience. If you can't abide by that, please step out. State of Florida versus Sigfredo Garcia. We, the jury, find as follows: as to count one, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows: as to count two, the defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows: as to count three, the defendant is not guilty. So say we all, this 11th day of October 2019.
Not guilty of
Russ Meisel, did I
solicitation.
accurately reflect the verdict of the jury?
Yes, you did, Your
All
Honor.
right. Do you wish to have the jury?
Yeah. So he was not guilty of solicitation, just guilty of the murder and the conspiracy.
But you can hear Katie whimpering,
Oh,
like a goat stuck in a fence.
It drives
Sorry.
me crazy listening to her.
I know.
She's just, so yeah. So then after that, so he reads the Allen charge to the jurors, which is, try again, blah, blah, blah. And when Sigfredo is getting, this is after, when they come back, then 36 minutes later, the jurors come back and say, yeah, we're hung. So Katie's going back to jail. Then they go to the second portion, which is sentencing, and they came back on that Monday. And we've watched some of that before, where Dan Markel gives a victim impact statement, and she comes up on the witness stand. We're not going to go through all that today, but they did ultimately decide. They discuss like aggravating factors, mitigating factors, and they decide not to do the death penalty, to do life without parole. And, Dan Markel was majorly against death penalty. So, I think the Markels were very pleased with that. And this was all 5 months before COVID hit and shut down everything.
Yeah. And I see a lot of the people in the chat arguing like Garcia solicited Luis, right? Well, the bottom line is that Katie is the one that was paying Sigfredo and Luis via the Adelsons. So I think that is why the jury did not convict Sigfredo Garcia of solicitation. I mean, that's just my
Yeah, that was my
that's
opinion too.
that's my perspective upon things, because Sigfredo never really had the money, right? Like his money did not give, I mean, maybe the 2K out of the 37K that Luis got, but the entire amount of the money given to Sigfredo and Luis, it came from Katie via the Adelsons.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's why they did not convict him of solicitation.
Right. And unfortunately, because this black monitor that's here on the defense table, I think we kind of miss when he's mouthing it, but you can watch and see him looking at her. So, but I think he mouthed, "I love you" there, but we
Yeah, I agree. Forensic RN, Katie. If it were not for Katie, Siggy would not be in this mess. Exactly. And if it wasn't for Sigfredo, Luis would not be in this mess. And if it was not for Charlie, Katie would not be in this mess. And if it was not for Wendy and Donna, Charlie would not be in the. I mean, it's a domino effect.
Yeah, it sure is. That's where they need to switch in the trial from train to domino. Hey, look, George is wearing her green blazer, as Jackie St. Germain says. That means go.
I mean, Georgia always looks good.
Yeah, she always does. Yeah, they're all crying.
There's
blah, blah,
Tara
blah.
and her sister
Uh-huh.
bawling, and I mean Christopher DeCoste, which I think is amazing. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a big Chris DeCoste fan. He's looking over at them, just like passing them tissues.
I know. He's like, what is going on?
He's like, yeah, okay.
Right. So we all know that, then they held. So then the last chapter today is what's called Big Fish. So it just talks about summer of 2020. Y'all remember COVID, and it was just, it was awful. And so there were some things done, like hearings, not necessarily trials, obviously, but they were doing things on Zoom.
Katie got COVID at least 2 times in the Leon County Sheriff's Office, or in the jail. And
I'm sure.
For those of you who do not know, there were at least 2 from if I remember correctly, at least 2 correctional officers. One was a long time Leon County Sheriff's officer employee. They both died of COVID during this entire time. It was rampant in jails across America or across the world. So
yeah, I mean, there were funeral super spreaders and all that. Adelson, Georgia, and Leslie B. Here goals. That's sweet. Okay. So then Judge Hankinson retired in June of 2020. And so then Judge Wheeler was assigned. And a little bit on Judge Wheeler. So he was considered in the June 2021 magazine article that ranked Florida's trial judges. He was considered the fairest of them all out of 13 judges in Florida's second judicial circuit. And then we know
that's
both,
an honor. That's an honor, because
Yeah.
there's about like at least a dozen, if not 20.
And then also he had been appointed by the governor because he was also the lawyer for the governor for years. We know that Chris and Tara were both cancer survivors, so they kept asking for things to be continued, and because they got exposed to COVID once when Katie had an active infection. They didn't know it. And then the trial was
which I agree with. I mean, they should be asking for continuation during this time frame, because that was very scary for everyone.
Right. And they were wanting it continued for that. But then Georgia was wanting it continued because she was just determined to get this Dolce Vita audio in the right form, because the FBI had the equipment where you could hear it, but they couldn't use that because it was only privy to being used in the FBI office. And so in order to allow it in court was like a different a different beast. And so they all agreed then to move it to May of 2022. And Georgia just kept telling Sanford, keep working on it, keep working on it. And that's when they found this Keith McElveen, who was a brilliant guy. He had worked in the CIA, he had electrical engineering degrees. And in 2020, he had 12 patents on his own technology capable of doing these audio forensics. He even made, listen to this, a hearing aid undershirt that embedded dozens of tiny microphones, enabling users to better focus on individual conversations in crowds and noisy environments. And if you've ever had like a parent or a grandparent that uses a hearing aid, you understand that like in a place that's really loud with lots of chatter, it's very hard for them because it can pick up on so many different things. He was from Charleston. So in November of 2021, Sanford got in his car and drove halfway between Tallahassee and Charleston, met McElveen at a gas station, and gave a thumb drive of the Dolce Vita audio files. And he worked on that for a long time. And it was the Dolce Vita audio. Finally, then it came out. It was on April 20th, 2016. And Georgia takes it to the grand jury. She played what he had, basically was able to obtain through his invention. He played it for, at the time, it was Jack Campbell, and Jack Campbell said, yep, this is good. Let's arrest him, take it to the grand jury. And they did. And they went and arrested him.
Well, and remember recently in the CLE that we learned, right? I think that Jason Newland and Georgia were trying to explain the process by which the guy, because he was able to detract or contract the audio from the Dolce Vita recording, but he had a hard time putting it onto another audio where people could actually hear it.
So he went to Dolce Vita on the same time of day.
Yes.
With all these
and
microphones.
like all the microphone, kind of like the t-shirt microphone, but microphones all over. Yes, it's very fascinating to me. I love, because, remember I say I don't know anything about audio, but up, down, mute. So this is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but yeah, he got all the recordings and he went the same time of day. He sat kind of like where the FBI agent had been, had all these microphones and essentially all those different pitches of the audio. Then he matched up and was able to get their conversation, which was, so then not only did they have, then they had the transcript. And even though you still couldn't hear Katie, which was stumping them, but Georgia was like, the responses that Charlie has basically implicate her.
Yeah, well, and I mean, just to be honest, I mean, Katie just says, go. Like, I mean, she's just listening to Charlie, placating him.
Right.
She's probably high as a kite. That's just my opinion. Based on her circumstance back in 2016, she was being given massive amounts of Xanax. She was always smoking weed. I think that Katie is a burnout. That's just my opinion. But she's sitting there just like,
oh, I know. I mean,
does she even say more than like 3 words at a time?
No,
in regards to Charlie's ranting?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
But then we get to the good part. Charlie's arrest is like, this was, so not only, so Epstein describes his arrest, but then he also, we've heard it on the jail calls. Oh, Cynical Cinder says, didn't Georgia ask Wendy about secret meetings during the wiretap? What she asked was, after the bump, did you have secret meetings with your brother? She has asked her about that on the stand, and she always says no. But it always has made me wonder if they have pictures, right? Like we don't know.
Yeah, or if they have information. And then she
Mhm.
also was always asking her if she was corresponding with Katie Magbanawa
Mhm.
outside of just meeting her those 2 times.
Right.
But
But
okay, so are you gonna read? Please
yes,
read the
I
part.
am.
Thank you. Okay, I will shut up.
This is like the best. So
This is so awesome. I love this part. I've heard it a multiple. Yeah,
yeah.
please.
So they knew that Charlie Adelson was this is on page 445. Well aware that Charlie Adelson was a rabid gun enthusiast who had no reservation or compunction about taking human life, those responsible for the operation at his Fort Lauderdale home the next morning. So they went to the grand jury, and then the next morning before 5 a.m., they're at his house. They had assembled a well-trained, heavily armed battalion in full riot gear, approximately 20 FBI agents plus local police. They gathered a couple blocks away before 5 a.m. to receive their final instructions in the cover of darkness. The element of surprise, offering a tactical advantage they hoped would prevent a shootout and bloody scene. Gradually, they surrounded the home from all sides. Couple of agents were even stationed aboard a boat behind the property to prevent a water escape. The movement was detected through Charlie's windows. Agents couldn't determine whether the dark figure was male or female. And he talks about like he's hearing things break, things like outside, right? So often officers positioned behind the fence, and they were given the go-ahead to advance. When they attempted to scale the fence, they were met with a surprise. It was lined with razor wire, leading to some nasty cuts. So their initial plan foiled. So the lead agent, who we know is Sanford, dialed Charlie on his cell phone, trying to coax him to surrender peacefully, but no one answered. Floodlights were then directed against the front of the home, brightly illuminating the entire property. An agent grabbed a bullhorn, demanding that Charlie come out with his hands held high. Several officers crouched in defensive positions through the front yard, aiming at the front door. Yet nothing happened. So the lead agent calls again, and this time Charlie answered. But let's play the little video that is the wire call where he describes his arrest to his mom. So I took the audio and made like a little video.
I literally, when I called out this number I have on my phone, I thought it was a neighbor of mine calling, or somebody who I never met, an old friend who was trying to get into my backyard, or a neighbor of mine calling and telling me like I said, the 2 missed calls I had were within a minute of hearing all the noises on the side of the house, the glass breaking. So like, I had to get someone calling and let me know what's going on. Like, just, had to be a neighbor, somebody see something and call and let me know. And I'll never forget. He saw me, he's like, "Hello, Charlie," and this is after one.
You keep hearing the dingings in the background, y'all. That is Donna's emails from Vietnam dinging about her visa.
The bathroom, like, look out the window. I opened up the window, and I'm like yelling out, like, "Everything okay?" The neighbor responded to me, and it was like, you could tell all the car engines were running, and like there was all these people everywhere. And the guy goes, "Charlie, this is Agent Sanford with the FBI."
Can y'all imagine?
I was here with FBI SWAT, and I was their hands emptying up in the air. My words to him were, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Those my exact words. I really thought I had a moment, something unrelated to this. It was like out of a movie. I was like, And like going outside and taking a big amount of photos, walk outside. And just water. And thinking like, oh, this is going to get resolved. This is going to be fine. This is going to be taken care of. We're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. I never really, Marcus always told me don't watch these shows on TV. And I think I caught it in the pieces and stuff. But like, I think maybe if I would have watched the full one. But that TV, you don't think they're going to do that in a courtroom.
Oh. And there's his mugshot. So it's Sether. So it's just funny because, Charlie always talks this game. It's what it says. Rather than a man itching for confrontation or a bloody shootout, what the officers observed emerging into the ultra bright lights was a most amusing sight. Not only was Charlie unarmed, he was nearly naked. A pair of skimpy boxer shorts, the only fabric covering his large frame. Shielding his eyes from the glaring light with his forearm, bewildered and confused, he asked, "Am I under arrest?" Officers quickly swarmed him, cuffing his hands behind his back and reading him his rights. They led him back inside to find some clothing and get him dressed. So that's when they went into his closet and they got him this like yellow orangish hoodie, and on the front of it it read unemployed.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, so as a naturally curly haired person, I kind of feel bad for Charlie.
Yeah, this is what my hair looks like if I just wash it, let it dry natural.
Exactly. Yeah. You like curly hair when you wake up. You can't do anything but
Nothing.
have to style it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he does. I agree. He looks stoned. It says, when the arresting officers spotted through their peripheral vision as they walked through his living space, revealed how lucky they were to nab him. Rifles and guns were displayed everywhere, mostly near windows and doors, even one resting on a tripod pointing out a window. The entire operation
I
easily
love
could have,
that.
isn't that crazy, devolved in a
It
very
is.
different deadly scene. Charlie appeared dazed and disoriented as the officers led through the house. He had incoherent gibberish, his only audible sounds. Likely he was under the influence of marijuana and another narcotic.
Yeah, he's waking up from a Xanny crash.
Yeah. Finally fully clothed and ready for prime time, the handcuffed arrestee marched back outside, flanked by officers who'd likely remember this particular perp walk for years. As they approached a squad car and placed Charlie in the back seat, one of the agents standing nearby was soaking in the spectacle with particular intense interest. Pat Sanford had waited nearly 8 years for this occasion. He was glad to make that 7-hour drive from Tally with the fresh issued indictment. So dozens of federal agents and TPD investigators, it had finally paid off. And within minutes, he was in the Broward County Jail.
Yes, and thank you so much, FBI Pat Sanford.
Yes. And so this
okay.
was in the headlines. Look at the Miami Herald.
I know. I remember.
Oh my God, look at this. After years of suspicion, South Florida dentist charged in murder of FSU professor Dan Markel. And then this was
he's still a deer caught in the headlights.
Yeah.
These photos.
Right.
Like he's still on his Xanny
right.
decline.
Look at him. And audio, and enhanced audio.
He looks a lot better here than he did during his trial.
Yeah, he's got a little color maybe. Led to the arrest of Charlie Adelson. And then there he is making his first court appearance. I guess he'd had a shower, and that was him in Miami. So
okay, so I know that there is no body cams for U.S. Marshals or FBI's, but and I have never done the FOIA for this, but there might be Broward County Sheriff's Office outskirt people
Mm.
body cam footage who were like, because remember, okay, so whenever federal and or marshals goes into any type of community, they have to get local support as well. Broward County Sheriff's Office was securing the perimeter. They will have body cams on. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So there might be a there might be something out there.
Well, that's possible. Yeah, that's a good point. It would be awesome, but there is for his arrest. Yeah. So when it's FBI and SWAT, they don't record it.
No, they just don't have
Mm.
like body cams at all. Like
But
mean,
maybe
I'm
the
very-
local ones do. Yeah.
Yeah, the local guys might, but they're going to be on the outskirts of the perimeter, right? Securing the perimeter. But no, like as a rule, SWAT almost never has body
Mhm.
cams, and neither does the U.S. Marshal Task Force. Which
Forensic,
the
you said
U.S.
you watched something telling him where to find the clothes. I've definitely heard a jail call with Donna where he goes into more detail. He's like, yeah, I told them to go in my closet. So it might have been that, and it was like a AI stuff. Oh, I just want to quickly say, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe Adelson Hater, or I don't remember. They were like, thank you for not using AI thumbnails. I am so sick of all the AI thumbnails on YouTube. Everybody's using obviously the same program, which I know what it is, and they all look the same. So now every channel's thumbnails look exactly the same, and I'm not going to do it. I'm staying true to who I was. It wasn't you, Adelson Hater. Might have been here for today. I don't know who it was, but I'm just going to keep making my own thumbnails. But with that being said, I was thinking about launching something where, like, every Wednesday night at 8:00 or 9:00 or something, I just do like Adelson Crime Family Therapy. And you can come on and say whatever you want about the case. We can show anything.
love
But
it.
it's just a monthly thing because we're all joking how we need therapy, but like we do. But it's just like, it's just going to be there. And there might be 5 people, there might be 500. But I think that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing.
Like an outlet.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And I also wanted to say that I was looking up, there's some interesting stuff coming up in Tennessee. So I'm going to be covering that, but I'll announce that in another upcoming thing. You like the idea of Adelson Crime Family Therapy? Okay. Y'all are liking it. Yeah. Thumbnails are just the picture you see, like whenever like I post a video, you see a picture associated with it. That's a thumbnail. So a lot of people are doing all these AI things. And yes, there is a science to a thumbnail, but I am sick of AI. I'm sick of people doing AI Donnas and AI Charlies and AI Wendy's. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. But like all these channels are using them. So that's all I'm going to say. But thank you so much, True Crime Wifey. I'm glad you got to join.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry if I made your live go a lot longer. You know how I like to converse.
No, it's good. Well, there was a lot in this too, and we always love your extra information. And I just wanted to share because it's just so many details of the trial, and so I'd rather just show the clips because a lot of people haven't seen that. And
yeah, or we don't remember because it's been so long ago.
yeah, exactly. And sidebar Snoop, I will find the club guys. And that's the kind of thing we'll watch in therapy. Like it might just be a random testimony from one of the trials. I mean, I think that's just going to be a great thing. And we'll just know it's always on Wednesday. I picked Wednesday. Maybe it'll be Tuesday, but
yeah, and so I've documented the the club owners trial. Like I've documented that timestamp off of Tallahassee Democrat channel. That's our local newspaper channel. I've documented his testimony. So I'll text you it.
Yeah.
I just need to find it in my notes. But and he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's so cheesy. Yeah. Like
And
an
yeah,
SNL
he's a
skit.
total and this is no offense to anybody, but he is a total what I would call Guido.
Guido.
Growing up
Yeah.
in Florida, he's a Guido. Like
So
that's just
funny.
that's
Oh my
what we
gosh.
would call those like dirty club dudes.
It's
Sorry.
so funny. Well, I'll look forward to seeing y'all then at therapy. I am going to go down to the Nashville courthouse tomorrow. I'll leave it as to why, because there's a couple of cases I want to check in on that are having hearings, and I'm going to be downtown in the morning anyway. And I thought, oh, I'll just go over there because I need to say hi to my friends there. So I'll update
Go-
y'all tomorrow. And
Okay, and go find the bailiff who thought that you were Nancy Grace.
I will. I am. I'm gonna go.
Did you see where Patty N did the
Yes.
video saying that you were Nancy Grace's
Yes.
little sister?
I was cracking up. Oh my
I was
gosh. Yeah. Well, hey, if they want to think I'm Nancy Grace, that's fine.
And everyone in chat, it's so good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Thank you. And a replay. And I appreciate likes, hypes, comments. It all helps. Like anytime you see something, just to give it a thumbs up is a big help. So we can keep getting the message out there. But thank you all. And Last Book Club, or as I call it, we'll end with this. Is it a book club or is it Leslie's notes? Because that's what it feels like. But y'all have a good one, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Thanks. Like and subscribe because every case has more to the story. I'm Leslie B.